mbop, 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 bop, 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 bop. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm curious.
No good.
Okay. Good to know. I can't watch videos on my other screen, or you guys can hear it. Because it's capturing all of my browsers. I'm gonna eat my bananas with a little bit of peanut butter. My plan was to get all ready to eat before stream, but I wanted to get on 30 minutes early. But I ended up getting on 15 minutes early, roughly. 20. Almost. I never put together my grocery list, too. When I'm done eating, I'll probably send that text real fast. I gave Path of Exile my my Twitch Prime, so I didn't get ads this time. When we watched the PoE1 reveal, we had ads. It's kind of annoying. I had my free Prime sub available, so I figured I'd do it for the stream. I think events like this shouldn't have stuff like this. Shouldn't have ads. It does stink. Yeah, subbing to a stream you're only gonna see for one day. Message my friends. I don't know if they're gonna make it. One of them I'm pretty sure works at this time. The other one's just sick and asleep, I think. Yeah, one of them said he's on and waiting at work. He's gonna, hopefully people stay out of his office. He's pretty important where he works, so he probably wouldn't get in trouble. It's just he might have to like pause it or something if someone comes in. I also have no idea where my webcam needs to be, but we'll fix that if we need to. Oh, yeah, it's on my grocery list. Trying to think about what else I need this week.
One's on it, yeah, on the ad box anyway, so if we could...
Get out of here. Auto-playing bullshit. We should have... We should get drops, right? I don't see PoE2 in the list. Not gonna lie, I kind of put drops in my title, just assuming there's gonna be drops. Oh, there it is. It's just... I see. The 4th through the 5th. What do we get? We get Verdant, Wild... Oh, Wild's Dodge Roll. Ooh, we get a Dodge Roll effect for PoE2. That's cool. I don't think I have a Dodge Roll effect on PoE2. It's a nice little poopy brown. I love it. It's like a greenish brown. I can't think of anything else I need. I think my grocery list is complete. 5 minutes. 6 minutes. All right. Yeah. I was gonna be a bad boy, eat some Doritos, but honestly, those 2 bananas filled me up. I knew they would. I was just gonna do it to be naughty, but if I don't need to do it, I shouldn't. Trying to lose weight and shit. Alright, can I... I guess it might be under grocery. I wanted to see what they had. Wait, do they not have, like... I just want to see what they have as a... Maybe if I do store locator. See the store. Shopper's guide. Yeah, they just have generics. Damn. I'm trying to find I had these baked beans, and they were really good, and now I can't remember what they were. I don't want to try these. Two seconds! Oh my god, we're starting!
I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal for what's coming next for Path of Exile 2.
Yes,
Push
please.
drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Verdant Wilds dodge roll effect by following the instructions below. Now today, it's finally time to show off a new class that we know everyone in the community's been waiting for. So let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids.
I'm watching the stream, so I should be. Yeah, I'm getting credit. Woohoo! Let's go.
Well, what have we got here then?
You lost, fella?
Hey, we're talking to you.
I asked you a question.
Oh my god. He just hit him into a wolf.
What's wrong with him?
Ah, he's lost his bloody mind.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, cool transition into the gameplay. That was awesome. Cool. Ooh, the slashies on the werewolf look a lot more cool than the bear so far. Oh, tornadoes. Oh, my friend wanted nature magic. Whoa! Whoa, I didn't know this form! Yo, that's so cool! I want it! Oh! I want to breathe fire upon my enemies. I want to somehow make that skill infinite duration and just fly around the map.
I will find you, Eve.
Let's go.
Now, as you can see, the Druid is a shape-shifting elemental spellcaster. After his fellow Druids were destroyed by the King in the Mists, the Druid lost his humanity in the forests of Ogham, where he wandered for years as a beast. Now, finally reawakened, he's determined to find his lost wife and regain his humanity.
Booty
The
cheeks.
Druid has been one of the hardest classes for us to design. As well as having human spells, he has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them.
That's an animal?
The Druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he
Okay.
needs to have the ability to use spells and attacks. As a human, the druid typically uses magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world.
Cool.
Keep and filth.
One of the first skills you will learn is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out
Cremation,
balls
alright.
of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so for some time. While the volcano
But
is
no
active,
corpse needed,
turn
it
into an
seems.
animal and wade into melee range. Many of the skills you use as a human last for a significant period of time, giving you a good chance to turn into an animal and rage out.
That's nice.
But how do you turn into an animal, you may ask? Well, the answer is a new weapon type that druids use, animal talismans. When you equip an animal talisman, you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent.
Interesting.
Depending
Where's
on
the
what you
third one?
choose, you'll be given that animal's basic attack as a new skill to equip. For a bear, that's Maul. To turn into a bear, simply use the skill. Your character will instantly
Yeah.
transform into a bear and attack.
Auto weapon swapping.
If you want to change back to a human, just cast a spell. You will instantly swap back and cast it. We wanted to make sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms should be something that you do without even thinking about it all the time in battle. In order to allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way.
Yeah, you
The
can see a
volcano
lot
we
of
used earlier
fireballs
will
come
emit
out when he
more molten
bashes.
balls whenever you hit it with a slam,
Ready? That,
making it
yeah.
perfect for use with your bear form's furious slam. While in bear form, many of your abilities use rage. There are a lot of ways to generate rage, but the easiest one is simply smash your enemies with Maul. Once you see the runes on your back glowing, it means you have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your furious slam.
Cool.
Your bear form can also go on a
form
rampage,
looks cool.
stomping the ground as you demolish your foes.
That seems nice too.
The more rage you have, the longer the rampage lasts, and doing it over a volcano makes it even better.
Oh, nice.
As you consume rage, your bear form will generate endurance charges, and these can be used with skills like Ferocious Roar. Ferocious Roar is a war cry that empowers your subsequent attacks to break your opponent's armor. The more endurance charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket any Warcry gem from another class into it, giving you the ability to use these skills as a bear.
Cool.
Use the Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies explode. Or use Seismic Cry to stun your enemies and double up the number of slams you do.
Nice. Doubling the slams for that charge is really cool.
You can even use it with Ancestral Call, a skill that turns you into the fire god Kaun.
Whoa.
Ever wondered what the Karui god of war would look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer.
That's pretty sick.
Finally,
say.
build up enough rage and you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities. A true
Damn.
bearpocalypse. Now the bear is known for being a slower and more lumbering animal, with slower attacks and heavy slams. But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well, let's check out the second animal form for the druid, wolf form.
Alright.
For the wolf form, we wanted to go fast and furious. Even just the wolf's basic attack will leap
Fast and
forward and rake
furious.
his foes. After attacking, the wolf stands up on two legs, but after running for a short time, he goes back on all fours, allowing to move more quickly between packs of enemies. The wolf has a lot of cold attacks based on his association with the moon, and the first of these is Lunar Assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place. After they're frozen, use your
terrible
basic
ice
rake attack to
explosions.
knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode.
That's cool.
If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your Pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark to them. Killing the marked enemy will summon a wolfman into your side, allowing them to fight with you.
Oh.
Mark and kill as many enemies as you can to build up a sizable pack. While an enemy is marked, your wolves will prioritize that target and do more damage the more wolves you have. So make sure you
Nice.
keep your pack strong.
What
Now,
if they
one
have a
problem you
duration?
might run into is your wolf pack dying in boss fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To
Okay.
deal with this problem, you can use Cross Slash. Cross Slash jumps backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to
Okay.
pounce to mark an enemy and then summon a wolf even without killing it. Cross Slash also has another feature though. Remember those ice fragments from before? Well, Cross Slash will propel any
Summoner.
ice shards on the ground towards its central target. First, freeze your enemies with Lunar Assault. Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow up with Cross Slash to generate a field of icy explosions to obliterate your enemies.
Nice.
If they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off. Just like with the bear's raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is
I was
also a
waiting for that for the
metagem
mark.
you can socket mark skills from
Yep.
other classes into. So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce. After pouncing at an enemy, Cross Slash to explode the mark and gain extra cold damage for a time.
Nice. So you don't have to do the. You don't have
wolf
to
has
have
many
the
other
wolf
ways to
if
go
you
all in
want,
on cold
if you don't
though.
want to.
Using the Arctic Howl Warcry will allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground to any slam, while buffing your pack of wolves as well. You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos.
Nice.
Finally, the wolf also has the ability to call down the power of the moon to transform into an Arctic werewolf with Lunar Blessing.
Cool.
In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage. Consuming Rage will extend the duration of your Arctic wolf form, so you could try a hybrid bear and wolf build if you want to utilize the skill to its full effect.
That looks pretty cool in the full ice
All right,
form.
let's talk about the third form available to the druid, and I think it's a cool one. The
Yeah.
Wyvern. The
Yeah.
Wyvern has a number of long-range
Let's
breath
go.
abilities, but that doesn't mean you can't get into melee range when you want to. The basic attack of the Wyvern is Rend. Jump forward into combat and slash your enemies with your lethal talons. If they're close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast from your wings, causing an
Okay.
explosion of damage. After
Oh.
the battle, though, it's time to feed. Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges. And this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come online. When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up
Pretty
your wings
quick
with
too.
lightning.
I was worried
Not
about.
only does this do a bunch of damage, but it allows you to turn
How
this
shitty
melee
that
skill
would
into
feel,
a
but-
much larger AoE attack. Once your wings are charged, your Wing Blast will also do lightning explosions for even more damage.
Cool.
If your enemies are close to death, no need to wait for them to actually die. When you see this blue marker, just devour them alive. Fresh meat is much tastier after all.
Cool.
Alright, so those are some melee options.
wondering what the
but
blue
how about
marker
range?
was.
Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe fire after all. Rolling Magma is the
Yes.
first of the Wyvern's breath attacks.
Oh, okay.
Spit balls of fire that bounce along the ground. These balls will
Oh,
trigger volcanoes as well,
wow.
so it's a good idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting.
Alright. That seems pretty good.
But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that build
You
of
can
yours.
burn shit too.
Spitting a barrage of oil at your enemies will cover them in a viscous sludge that makes them easier to ignite. If you have power charges though, plant your wings in the ground and vomit a barrage of lightning-infused projectiles.
Oh, you need power charges.
The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make
Okay.
sure you keep your foes at range. You're vulnerable to melee attacks with channeling your skill.
Whoa.
In order to help with that, let's take a quick diversion back to some of your human abilities. As a druid of Scoth, you have the ability to harness the power of nature to create entangling vines to slow down your enemies. Another of nature's punishments is the thunderstorm. Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the sky, and will also make your enemies wet. Why is that
Oh.
useful? Well, of course, things that are wet are easier to shock. Use it with lightning damage from your Wyvern form to enhance your damage. Making things wet
Interesting.
also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your wolf form as well. And you know
Make
what
them
else
wet.
likes water? Plants. Water your plants to give them various extra
Whoa.
abilities.
That's
Use
new.
Lightning Storm with Entangle to make them last longer, and attach more vines to each enemy, slowing them further. Summon Thrashing Vines to slam at your enemies for a time. Any that are created in water will be larger and deal more damage.
Okay, now.
Now then, with our enemies sufficiently subdued with our
I
plants,
want to play
time
I
to
want to
really
play
use them
a
with our
vine
lightning-infused
build and
barrage.
just have them slap everything for me.
Now, this
I'll
last
just make
Wyvern
everything
ability
wet
is just
and the tentacles
ridiculous,
can do the
but we
rest.
felt like we had to do it. Use Flame Breath to take to the skies and rain down a stream of fire on your enemies. You have wings, so we have to take full advantage of them after all. So
Yes.
fly around and burn in it.
Oh. Oh, that's so cool.
Now there are a few other skills we didn't cover, but there's one in particular that I think will open up a lot of builds. Spell totems.
Oh
Spell
shit!
totems are
Spell
meta gems that
totems!
let you create a totem that will automatically cast any spell in the game for a time. In order to create one, you will need to spend 3 endurance or 3 power charges.
Ah,
You could use them to throw fireballs, summon
Damn,
comets,
you game.
or shower the area in lightning. Really, the options are kind of endless. Your bear form can easily generate endurance charges by consuming rage, and your wyvern form can easily create power charges by eating corpses. So it's pretty easy for the druid to get the charges needed, but they're also available from quite a few other places as well. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of different spellcaster classes thinking about how best to take advantage of these. Now, of course, along with a new class comes a bunch of new support gems. We've added over 30 new
support
supports
gems.
throughout the game, but I'll show you a few of the cooler ones here. Fan the Flames can be added to any wind skill to spread fire from one ignited enemy to the other enemies behind them.
Oh,
It's
that's
great
kinda
for the
cool.
Wyvern's Wing Blast. But you can also use it on many other classes with wind skills, like the Twisters on the Huntress, or the Monk's Staggering Palm Projectiles.
Huh.
Accelerated growth causes extra explosive plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants with rain. And Advancing Storm changes storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the battlefield. It's great for watering plants en masse, or to
Okay.
turn tornadoes into a real disaster by sucking up multiple ground effects as they travel along.
Oh, cool.
And the Sorceress might like to use it with Firestorm as well. Echoing Cry causes your
Nice.
Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay after you use them, giving you more empowered attacks.
Huh.
Use it for the Druid's animal form Warcries, or on the Warrior for a nice power boost.
Okay.
Grounding Shocks causes monsters you shock to turn into living Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies. You could use it with your empowered wings for an extra damage boost, but it's also great with any other shocking skill. Try it out with Lightning Spear. It obviously needed more AoE clear. There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover.
Nice. Yes.
Now with the new
definitely
class
need more
comes new
clear.
Ascendancy classes. The Druid will have 2 options for now, with a third
Okay,
being
2.
released later. The first class is the Shaman. The Shaman channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a spellcaster, unifying
Okay.
his animalistic and magical tendencies. By allocating Druidic Champion, you gain spell damage the angrier you are.
Ooh.
And with Furious Wellspring, you generate rage
Oh, you don't
continuously
lose rage,
and can spend
and
it
you
to
gain it.
empower your spells.
Oh, wow.
With the knowledge of the Asmerian
That's really
Magi,
cool.
the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols. After allocating Wisdom of the Magi, you will notice that all runes and idols have extra mods only available to the Shaman.
Oh.
These new mods unlock countless new possibilities for enhancing your build.
Interesting.
You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse, allowing you to become a walking natural disaster. After dealing enough elemental damage, storms of all elements rain around you, destroying
Oh, wow.
all who would face nature's fury.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There are other
Okay,
abilities for the
okay,
Shaman.
Shaman
I'll
was
just show a
sick.
few from each class for now. The other Druid Ascendancy is the Oracle. The Oracle perfected the power of foresight and utilizes this in combat to gain massive advantage. When taking Fateful Vision, you will see visions of your future self using specific skills. If you decide to follow this path by using the skill yourself, it will do significantly more damage. And with Converging Paths, at a critical moment in battle when a monster is vulnerable to freeze, stun, or electrocution, the Oracle can use Moment of Vulnerability to see a vision of the enemy's future, and then merge it with the current timeline, allowing him to deal damage to both.
Interesting.
And one of my favorites, when you first become an Oracle, you'll notice over 130 new extra passives appear
What?
in the Druid section of the tree.
What?
By allocating the Unseen Path, you use your power of foresight to learn from alternate futures and gain skills that would otherwise be unavailable to you.
That's
For example, self-sacrificing allows you to be able to summon more minions by reducing their spirit costs, with
What?
the trade-off of making your reservation skills cost more spirit. Or Corruption
Interesting.
Endures, which allows oracles to have a small chance to avoid death.
avoid death from it. What?
Both the Druid Ascendancies offer interesting and unique ways to gain modifiers that no other classes can get, so we're expecting a huge variety of build possibilities from these.
Yeah.
Now there are unique talismans for the Druid to use as well. We won't spoil all of them, but this one was particularly cool. Fury of the King turns your bear form into a fire demon, converting most of your damage to fire. As a demon, you can also use Molten Crash, a jumping slam attack that leaves fissures around you. This unique also continuously grants glory, allowing you to use your ultimate abilities more easily. Now, of course, the Druid isn't the only thing we're adding to 040. We still have a bunch more to show. With every new release, we create a new league with new mechanics, new pinnacle bosses, and with a new story to tell. And this time is no exception. So let's roll the trailer for the fate of the Vaal.
Alright, here's the league.
Palace of Queen Atziri. It is a ruin, but in the dark, machines still churn. The temple has many functions. And with it, a chance to save the Vaal.
Okay.
A
different way of
time.
Alba, I guess, building a temple.
Travel into the past again and again. Alter the temple. Uncover its secrets. You'll be rewarded for your sacrifice.
Oh.
And somewhere in the deepest chamber, my queen awaits. I beg of you, hear me. The beast cannot give you what you desire.
You may have studied it, Doriani, but you do not know it like I do.
I mean, what?
It adores
Whoa.
me.
Hey.
Come now, give unto me your desire. At last, fulfill my soul.
Are we gonna get an serious pinnacle boss in PoE2?
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game
Hi, Mark
Director
Roberts.
on Path of Exile. In the Fate of the Vaal League, you will find remnants of the ancient Vaal civilization scattered throughout Rayclast. They seem to attract nearby creatures and affect them strangely.
Okay.
After killing them, the remnant appears to gain some amount of power, but not enough to fully activate it. It seems you will need to find 5 more of these arcane devices, and sacrifice the monsters you find there to fully activate one.
Alright.
But things don't always go to plan. These devices are old, and sometimes infected by corruption. Twisted versions of ancient Vaal may emerge, and sometimes even stronger foes. On fully activating one of the devices, you finally discover its true purpose. A portal opens and takes you deep underground to a lost temple, once the home of Atziri, Queen of the Vaal. What treasures could still be inside? I think you're gonna want to find out. In front of the entrance is a console of some kind, and on activating it, you can see a map of the temple. Atziri's personal chambers are on the far side, but how could anyone get there? There are disconnected rooms, and the layout doesn't seem to make sense. And that's when you realize the purpose of the ancient devices scattered through Rayclast. The temple is powered by sacrifice, and this energy can be used to modify the very structure of the temple itself. Each time you
add
run the
rooms,
temple, you'll be
hallways.
given 6 rooms that you can place, allowing you to craft your own dungeon to explore.
Cool.
Place paths to link up the dungeon, and place rooms beside them full of precious loot. After you are
That
happy
seems
with your
neat.
choices, open the temple and discover the results of your efforts. Each room contains different challenges along with its rewards. On entering a room, the doors will slam
run
shut
them when
behind
you're
you,
not-
and you will need to face the encounter within.
Before you made it all the way
But
to
choose
her?
wisely. It's
Interesting.
important where you place the rooms to get maximum returns. For example, when placing a commander, you could just place it anywhere along an existing path, but a much better strategy is to place it next to a garrison of troops for him to command.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
With better leadership, the garrison will level up, making the monsters harder, but also more rewarding.
Okay.
Different rooms have different requirements for leveling up. For example, If you want to fully level up
The
a
density
smithy,
looks really tiny,
you will need
but
to
I
supply it
assume
with
it's
golems
gonna be
from an
better when we're
adjacent
actually
golem
playing.
works. And hook up a generator to the power network to supply it with power.
What?
After doing so, the golems will be powered up, making them much more dangerous.
Yeah, look, he's low level. Look at
You
his
don't
flasks.
need to memorize what
Oh,
interacts
you
with
can't
what.
see him.
When selecting a room,
He has
you will
baby
be shown the
flasks. This is
locations
like
that will make other rooms
early
level
campaign.
up, and exactly what effect it will have on the temple.
And he only has like 2 skills. 2 or 3. Or 4.
After running the temple, a few of the rooms will destabilize and be removed. It will be up
Okay.
to you to rebuild the temple, adding 6 more rooms each
that's
time
kind
you
of
come
cool. So you lose a couple
Making the
rooms,
temple
but
larger
you get to add more
and
rooms.
larger. back, and larger.
And eventually you make it to her.
So, that's the basic functionality of the temple. But there is a lot more.
Whoa.
Once Doriani finds out about your travels
Wait,
to
what's that
Lerivar,
ballista?
he will attempt to persuade
don't-
you to take
do we
on
have
a
that
new
yet?
mission. The temple entrance contains a prototype of the time portal device. It will be able to take you back in time, but only to one specific point. Right before Itzeri triggered the cataclysm that destroyed the Val. He requests that you go back and attempt to stop Itzeri to prevent the Val from ever being destroyed.
Pretty cool sequence.
Itzeri is on the far side of the temple, so you will need to expand the temple significantly to get to her. And even worse, her chambers can only be unlocked by a room that isn't currently accessible to you.
Oh.
In order to deal with that, you are going to need to visit the architect of the temple.
Okay, that makes sense.
To get to him, you will need to place path rooms. But while doing so, you will probably want to exploit some of the Val technology only available in the past. Once you can travel into the past, a whole new set of rooms are available to you, and they have some pretty insane rewards. At level 1, the corruption chamber can be used to corrupt a single item.
Okay.
But placing it next to a thaumaturge to run the place,
What happens when you
and
level
a
it up?
sacrificial chamber to
Double
provide
corrupt?
soul energy, you'll be able to level it up.
Okay.
And it's worth it. Because once you get the room to level 3, there are some very nice rewards to be had. In a level 3 corruption chamber,
Oh, I
you will
thought they were
find
gonna
this
tell us.
mysterious device. It has a slot to place an item, and it only accepts items that are already corrupted.
Oh.
What will happen to them? Well, normally once an item is corrupted, you can't modify it any further. But this device allows you to corrupt your item a second
Or
time.
destroys it. Do you see
adding
that? It says
another
or destroys
enchantment.
it.
This has the capability to craft some very powerful items indeed. But be warned,
Nice.
the Val are all about taking risks in the pursuit of power.
Yep.
There is a 50% chance that the item will be
A
destroyed.
50% chance. 50-50, baby.
Each room has its own interesting mechanics and rewards when it levels up. Many of them contain bosses to fight, special drops, and in many cases, new crafting opportunities.
Ah, modifies
For
a skill
example,
gem, but we
A
didn't get to
level
see what
3
it does.
alchemy
What does it
lab
do to
is a
skill
nasty
gems?
Val construct to fight.
Maybe it's just like,
But if you
can
can
be like,
defeat it,
bump up to
you can find
21
new
or quality
corrupted
or
soul
something.
cores. Like Guatalizi's thesis, which on boots allows you to sacrifice your life to run faster. Or Sita Qualottl's thesis, which on gloves will revive one of your minions whenever an offering expires.
Oh.
Get a sacrificial chamber to level 3, and you will need to face a highborn priest of sacrifice. Defeat him to be able to further corrupt a Val unique, modifying it in unpredictable ways.
I don't know what that
One
ballista
of the
is, but
mods
it's
of
pretty
this
cool.
unique will be removed and replaced with another random mod.
Oh. You can make Foulborns.
For example, this Soul Mantle. It gives you an additional totem, but lowers your totem's life and curses you when they die. By using the machine, this could result in a terrible item if you remove the good mod, but also some amazing items if you replace the downside.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Now,
You
one
can
extra
get
thing
rid
to
of the
mention about this
cursing
Val crafting
aspect of
machines.
it.
You don't have to take the items you want to craft into the temple. If you don't have the item you want to craft with you at the time, then clicking this button will allow you to create a currency item instead.
Oh,
allowing
thank
you to do the craft later
Oh.
or trade it if you want.
Oh, you're
Now,
so
there are all
smart.
sorts of interesting rooms you can
You're
find
so
in the
smart,
temple.
devs.
But the last one
How
I
do
want
you
to
do
show you
this?
today is the Flesh Surgeon. A Vaal Flesh Surgeon can be leveled up by placing him next to a high-level synth flesh lab. But be careful. The Flesh Surgeon has some rather unpleasant experiments in his personal lab.
Ugh.
Afterwards, you might notice the surgery table just sitting there. The Vaal are great at crafting items. Why not do some crafting on yourself?
What?
After laying down, you'll be asked which limb you'd like to replace.
What?
Left arm, perhaps your right leg. Each limb can get a different set of random bonuses, so choose wisely.
What?
After getting up from the table, try out your new limb. It seems to work fine, and even perform better than your normal one. Now, there is just one thing with replacing body parts. If you die and are resurrected, your body will return to its natural state.
Oh.
You might need to return to the Vaal Surgeons if you want another robot arm, and maybe
Oh,
get a better one
no.
next time. Some rooms, like the Commander,
That's
can
gonna
give
suck
you
for
a
people
new
that die a
type
lot.
of reward. Medallions that can be used to manipulate the temple in other ways. Using a Queeper medallion
I
will
have a phone
allow
call,
you
1
to
second, I'm still
artificially boost a room, even if it doesn't meet the normal requirements to level up. And a Huatalotli's medallion will stop rooms from destabilizing when you complete a temple, allowing you to guarantee getting a reward a second time. Great if you want to stock up on double corrupts. Now, with all that aside, time to face the Architect, and you will be in for a fight. Once defeated, you will find another console that can be
Alright,
used
I'm
to
back, sorry
modify
about
the
that.
temple. But this one is special.
Ooh.
It allows you to place new types of rooms with specific rewards.
And you don't have to go off
There
the
are
path
rooms
either.
with specific uniques, special runes, and currency. But
Nice.
also a few other, more niche crafting experiments. Like this one, that can extract the socket balls
Oh,
back
you can
out of
get-
an item, at the
Cool.
cost of destroying it. Now, something really important is every league we release a significant amount of content for the in-game. In order to make sure that the Fate of the Vaal works well for late-game players, we've added many mechanics to make sure that you can scale the difficulty and rewards to match.
Okay.
Getting some rooms to level 3 adds extra mods to the entire dungeon, and these stack with each other. So
Okay.
in endgame, when you can get some really big temples, you can generate a challenge that can even match the strongest of characters.
Damn.
We also start to introduce ways to store up energy for the temple, allowing
me?
you to save up many runs so
What's
you
this
can do them
ability?
later at your leisure, and not interrupt your mapping too often.
Excuse
Now, in
me,
each
what's that
league,
ability?
it's important that we have a new pinnacle boss to test your character's might. In the Fate of the Vaal, you will get to face Adzeri while she was at the peak of her power. One of the rewards you will gain by defeating the Architect is the ability to place the Royal Access Chamber. Once connected to your temple, you can visit it to finally reach the Queen of the Vaal herself.
Okay.
This fight takes place at a critical moment in history, right as Adzeri communes with the beast's power and takes her true corrupted form.
Look at those 4 titties.
Now, we are not going to show you the whole fight, but we will tempt you with one of the rewards. This is Adzeri's rule. This staff
Max
gives
life,
additional
cast
levels
speed,
to
and
all of your corrupted
level of
gems
corrupted
and
skill
lets you
gems.
trade life for
Ooh.
extra damage. But in addition to that, while using the staff, mirrors of refraction will constantly appear on the battlefield.
Whoa.
Any projectile you fire at these will split into a
Oh
nova,
no.
and they can chain from one to the other.
Oh no.
So, that's the Fate of the Vaal League.
Garafa's
But
like
we
crazy
are also
fireball
bringing the
build.
previous league, Rise
was
of the Abyssal,
accidentally hitting
into the
those
core game,
mirrors.
along with a few changes. Now, for those of you who
Cool.
haven't seen what happens when a league is over,
I really
it's
like
important
Rise.
to understand that you will not be seeing abysses in every area anymore. Rise of the Abyssal is now one of the league mechanics that can show up randomly in endgame. If you want to specialize in running abysses, there is now a tablet that will allow you to
Nice.
add them to any map you run. You can also craft the tablet to add abyss-specific mods to enhance how they function. Now that Abyss is core, it also needs its own Atlas tree.
Oh, shit.
You can gain your first points by completing an Abyss. But there are more available for doing depths
Okay.
and killing certain bosses. And there are a bunch of different options. You might just want more monsters and bosses. But you can also make finishing an Abyss have a chance to overrun a nearby map with the Abyssal. Or make your Waystone modifiers also apply to Abyssal depths. You could specialize in the
Oh,
interaction with other
damn.
leagues, or specialize in a specific Abyssal faction. One of the
The
important elements that we have
Waystone
heard loud
modifiers
and
applying
clear
to depths
is
is
that
massive.
needing to do Abyss crafting on Waystones is quite annoying. So, we have removed that.
Rip. Goodbye.
In fact, we have removed instilling from Waystones as well.
Oh.
This mechanic felt mandatory on maps because it boosted the value of
Interesting.
all other content. But it was both annoying to do and resulted in a lot of visual clutter. Instead, we are bringing back some of that power on tablets,
Okay.
which you don't need to craft nearly as often, since they last for 10 maps each. Once you defeat
Cool.
the Arbiter of Ash, you will be able to upgrade tablets to a rare with 4 mods using
shit.
regular currency.
Killing Arbiter is important now.
Even this isn't enough to fully bring back the power you could have gotten from instilling, so we have also buffed the bonuses that tablets give. Going forward, we're not going to be adding any more crafting directly to Waystones outside of the basic currency, because it
Okay.
adds too much micromanagement. But on that note, Fate of the Val does bring the ability to corrupt
I'm
your
okay with that.
tablets, hoping to get one of many different random outcomes.
Nice.
Now,
Otherworldly breach.
with regard to Delirium Fog, even though you shouldn't have to have it on every map anymore, we still did want to make it less visually annoying. Delirium Fog has been toned down significantly, so you won't feel like you're just playing in a sea of grey.
This skill looks great.
Another big source of problems in the endgame is the feeling of getting overwhelmed with monsters. In 031, we reduced the number of monsters in early endgame in order to help with this, but still scaled up the number of monsters to previous levels by the time you got to tier 15.
Right.
Well, after letting this simmer for a while, we are still getting this kind of feedback. So we are no longer going to scale up the number of monsters you go as you get deeper into the endgame. Instead, we are scaling up the difficulty and rewards by the same amount. So
Interesting.
to be clear, instead of increasing the number of monsters by 40%, they will instead drop 40% more items, grant 40% more experience, and have 40% more life, in addition to all the normal scaling they get due to being higher level. This only
see.
applies to regular monsters, not
I
bosses.
kind of like.
We have
killing
also
hordes
reduced
of
the speed
enemies,
modifiers
to
that
be
monsters
honest,
can get
but-
sometimes, which also helps a lot with this. Now, we did have a large amount of content for endgame planned for 040, but unfortunately we just didn't get time to finish it. The scope was a bit too large, and so we'll need to wait until 050 for that. But rest
Okay.
assured, there will be a ton of upgrades for the existing leagues, as well as new pinnacle bosses, and a significant overhaul to the Atlas passive tree coming soon. Now, another problem that becomes a much bigger issue in the endgame is game performance. And we have done a lot of work here. The primary issue is CPU load. And to address that, a lot of things have been optimized. And we have done a lot of work to take advantage of more of your
Okay.
CPU cores. You
Good.
should see frame rates of at least 25% higher, and a lot less bad frame spikes during gameplay. It does make quite a big difference, especially on consoles. A lot more work in this area is ongoing, and you will continue to see performance improvements over the next few months. Of course, another important area is game balance. and we have made a lot
I
of
like
changes.
FPS.
Now, most of these we will save for the patch notes, but I'll do a quick summary of some of the numbers. As well as adding 11 new unique items, we have rebalanced dozens of others that are not currently used very often.
Okay.
We've also done a pass over lineage supports. 21 of them have been rebalanced, as well as adding 9 more. Alongside the 2 new Druid ascendancies, we have made balance changes to almost all the others, with some of them getting a grander rebalance, such as the Smith of Katava. Alongside the 20 plus new Druid skills, we've also rebalanced 90 other active skills across all the different classes. And to top it all off, there are also over 250 new passive skills added to the passive tree.
Oh my god.
These changes should go a long way to increase the viability of many more skills, uniques, and overall build variety that can tackle our most challenging content. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Precursor and Kalgurin packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way.
Yeah, no bitching. No pay to
The
win.
Precursor series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. First up, the Marble Statue character effect. Once you finally stay still for a moment, a podium rises up out of the ground to immortalize you, turning your skin to marble. When you next move, the stone crumbles around you.
Okay.
The Precursors had mastery over gravity manipulation. So too can you, now with the Gravity Well portal.
That's pretty crazy.
Witness the power of its pull as you approach it. Draw in enemies with your own gravitational pull with the Awakened Precursor armor set. The Precursors designed and built many mysterious ancient beings. This one used to serve as a scout that would patrol and tase intruders. Why salvage gear yourself when the Master of the Forge can do it for you? Molten gold spills out as the Forge Master breaks down your items.
That's pretty cool.
The Relic of the Precursor's map device is a mysterious machine that sits atop ancient colossal statues. It keeps track of the number of charges consumed on your Precursor tablets used in the device.
Okay.
The Kalgurin pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Kalgurins had astounding skill in astronomy, being able to track cosmic events with absolute precision.
The level up effect, okay.
Harnessing that skill, with the Astronomer's level up effect equipped, you too can now see exactly how long it took you to level up as it outputs the time in chat.
Okay.
The time taken to reach your last 3 levels is also displayed on the item, so you can link it when you have a timer.
Nice.
Crush unique enemies by unleashing the wrath of the lost Kalgurin fleet, led formerly by Captain Heartland himself.
Nice.
A Kalgurin seafarer needs armor fit for the treacherous seas of Rayclast. This set has you covered with the classic tricorn,
Can't like them all though.
And of course, a peg leg. The Lost Treasure weapon skins top off your appearance of a true Raider of the Seas. These gilded weapons can be applied to wands, 2-hand maces, and shields.
The shield's cool.
After a long day of plundering loot, retreat to the Kraken's Cove hideout, a home of some of the most deadly, ocean-dwelling creatures in Rayclast. Many ships have met their demise here.
I think the other one wins. Big time.
What better to accompany you in Kraken's Cove than a Kraken itself? Replace your stash with a dormant Kraken, waiting for its prey. As you approach, it will awaken and terrify both you and any guests in your hideout. Alongside this, an extra stash skin item will be granted to you, and when placed, will automatically open to any stash tab set with the currency affinity, to help having to navigate through your tabs.
Interesting.
Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. Thank you very much for all your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, we'll post the patch notes. With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll
Was
need
that
for the release.
5?
Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to playing alongside our fellow shapeshifting exiles, all while uncovering Lost Val secrets by doing some dungeon crafting. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
My friend just messaged me, take my fucking money.
Welcome back, Exiles, to the Q&A portion.
Hi,
I am your host,
ZiggyD.
Ziggy D, and today we're going to be touching on the design of the Druid and the fate of the Vile League while we gather some community questions. Then we'll deep dive into endgame, balance, and other game design topics. I am, of course, joined by game directors Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts. How you guys going today?
Oh, very good. I mean, you know, it's been a great one to work on this one. Like, I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's definitely great to see you again. And it feels like it's only been like no time at all since the last time you were here with the PoE1 release.
It feels like only several weeks, and that's pretty accurate.
yeah.
We get to see you twice as often now, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm around every 2 months or so now, roughly. It's great. I love it. Let's keep going. So I do have to open with this, though. Is like, Druid looked a little bit weak, I think, in the demonstration video.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues that we have is like we're so concentrating on like just demonstrating how the mechanics work that we sort of forget to be like, okay, let's actually make sure the damage numbers that we're doing on this like test character we're filming here are actually like in line with what people actually normally expect. So yeah, there's some things there that we probably should have caught. And
I figured the
Druid's
Druid's going to be stronger than the
there. But
demonstration.
when you actually play it, it's certainly from the alpha feedback incredibly powerful. Like
Yes.
you know the we were seeing some people say, oh, you know, the wolf looks weak or whatever. Well, I can assure you that on alpha there's a bunch of people saying the wolf is super OP. So you know, it just comes down to the things you go through in order to demonstrate
I
stuff.
think we probably going to be worthwhile. We make some videos showing a bit more of the less demonstratey side and get them posted and stuff this week. Because honestly, you can just play it literally right now, and it's you know.
Yeah, I've definitely been playing and recording a bit myself because I was like, when I first watched it as well, the draft, I was thinking, it's like, I don't really get a feel for what it feels like to actually play it. There's good demonstration here of the mechanics, but yeah, I can understand how from your perspective, it'd be pretty easy to be like, oh, we want to communicate how this cool thing works and this cool thing works.
There's a fine line there for sure. Where if you get too hectic, people are like, I don't even know what's going on. They're just looking at a ruckus. And then, in this case, let's say we went on a little too far on the other side of the line, was just a bit too slow, and as a result, yes, it can look a bit weak, but...
I think we'll try and get some, like, raw Druid gameplay out to people to understand it. I think, particularly for this class, because of the shape-shifting stuff, it's so hard for us to... Normally, we can look at something and be like, oh, that's just a demonstration. We kind of know what it would look like at endgame. But I think with the Druid, it's just so unusual. It's so different that it's actually hard to judge what it would feel like to even play it. And I'm happy for my hands-on to say that like it's almost immediately like very smooth, the shape-shifting of it, the movement of it, especially because like in your demonstrations, you're not really using dodge, roll, sprint, that sort of thing as well, which makes a big difference.
I suppose one of the things we didn't really dwell on in the video as well is that we do actually have dodge roll. I mean, they're not actually rolls for the animals, but yeah, all the animals can like hop around and that kind of stuff. And that was honestly one of those things that was like kind of funny because initially we actually had it so when you dodge rolled, you would transform them back into a human. And the reason we did that is because it's really hard to make animations for animals that like actually work correctly. Like we actually thought it was impossible, but then when we actually put it on alpha, there was the kind of visceral reaction of I want to still be a bear, like you know, while I'm hopping around. So we ended up having to like work out like how can we make this possible?
Figure it out.
How can we make it so that you can actually do the dodge rolling as an animal? And that sort of ended up being pretty good, I would say.
And this was like clearly the hardest class to design so far, and it took a bit longer. Like I think you were originally hoping to bring it out in a previous.
I got my
quite a
job.
while ago. But the thing is with it is that it's kind of like designing 4 classes in one, because not only do you have the situation where like obviously we want to have synergy between skills and stuff like that, and we can like look at that in a normal class and work out what those might be. But with this class, people want to be able to play just as a bear or just as a wolf, as well as people who want to play like dual with a human and a wolf, or people who just want to be a wolf and a bear and like all the different combinations. So we had to kind of come up with a way for like each line needs to be self-sufficient and that it's got all the tools that you need. But at the same time, you have to not have it so it feels like there's just duplication between them. We're like, oh, like this is just the same thing as what a bear has, but you know, you are a wolf instead. So we kind of have to like, it's like you need all the tools and yet you also need to have them feel different. And that just made it really, really tricky to get all of the things right with it. And then it didn't also help that, since the last time we were working on the Druid, way back when we showed it off in Gamescom 2023, we had WSD. And that is a whole other complication because, you know, like how can we make that work with the animal forms? It's like a whole thing. You know, like I'll tell you the wyvern, for example, like we had a hell of a time making it so that you could do the ranged attacks because you need to be able to walk while you're doing it. The wyvern's sitting there with its arms like planted on the ground, you know, like being able to walk while also spitting it. Yeah, it's like we went through so many.
It's like it doesn't sound like
it was just a very
hard,
tricky class overall, like just crazy.
I remember seeing some very goofy looking like wyvern like months and months ago.
Yeah,
we were like trying to. This is not working.
Right.
Like,
well, I also remember like for a long time the wolf was just like a dancing dog. It was just like it looked really silly. And like man, the wolf as well. I mean, it was really hard to get right, and because one of the things we really wanted to avoid was I didn't want that too much of that whole like man in a wolf suit vibe. Yes. Like I wanted to actually get this the feeling of like this is an actually different animal, which I think with the bear and the wyvern's way easier. With the wolf, it's like it's really hard not to just go back into that. So we had a lot of questions about like what even the locomotion was. How does it walk? Are we going to walk on 2 legs? Are we going to walk on 4? We ended up splitting the difference. You can do both, right? Like you can, when you're attacking and you can be upright walking on 2 legs. When you're walking, you run on 4, and you actually do get a speed boost while you're on 4 legs. Like as a wolf, just so after like That's 1 second of walking, you go down on 4 legs. You start moving a bit faster. So yeah, it's
actually
pretty cool.
An interesting thing there. I don't think is each form technically has a kind of passive benefit.
Right.
So obviously you've got the running fast as a wolf. Can't remember exactly what the wyvern ones were, but like for the bear, for example, because you're just a bit bigger, you know, a bit of a tank. You actually do get armor, and armor applies to elemental damage as a thing, and like, you know, there's a kind of, which is like honestly, unless you actually click the bear keyword, is like undescribed everywhere.
Well, it was even more than that because I was just looking at it in game before. The bear has like passive endurance charge generation.
Yes, it does. From rage expenditure, it does.
I was like, that's so cool.
yeah. So we really wanted to make sure that each of the different forms had things that can benefit the other forms. So like it was really tricky to think like, what are resources that a bear can generate? What are the resources that wolf can generate? What are the ones the wyvern can generate that the other ones can then use in order to kind of get that cross synergy? So that's kind of like one of the reasons why we had to kind of come up with all that stuff. And that, part of the trickiness.
And that caught me by surprise as well, because like technically it's mentioned, but I never really fully understood the idea that you can swap between the forms, like human to animal and back. Yeah, I figured that's what's going on here. But you can like leap in as a wolf and then immediately transform to a bear mid slam.
You absolutely can. So the thing with this is that you want to present a fantasy to someone as far as like what the UI is pushing you towards and all that sort of stuff. Like there are going to be a lot of people who are like, I want to be a bear, and they just pick bear stuff and they go all bear, right? But at the same time, we're unconstrained in the sense that you can pick all the other stuff. You can use it at the same time. So one talisman, like effectively when you pick on a talisman from like wolf, bear, or wyvern, what that's giving you is the default attack, right? That's what you're actually picking, and that's all it is, right? And that often will guide you, like what skills you're picking and so on, but you can just use with that same talisman as many different animal skills as you would like. That just means that you've got that sort of free-flowing, like, you know, trying out different stuff, sort of combo gameplay that we like to try and get. So, obviously there will just be a lot of people who just pick one thing, right? Like I absolutely expect that. There's a lot of experimentation to do there if you want to do it.
The wyvern caster, merging
people
with
who just want like simple, straightforwards. Like I just want to run out as bear
other
and sit on the ground.
Out of form abilities looked really
certainly
good.
Very possible there.
That's like a
but
shaman.
Also, you with this whole class, you had the problem of how do we make like a spellcaster and a melee attacker that's shapeshifter as well. I mean, this class has got a bit of everything.
For sure.
How did you make all that kind of like work together and solve that build problem of like, how do you actually scale these things together in a way that just one thing isn't way better than everything else?
Right. Well, I mean, it's always tricky, and Mark's obviously the one who handles a lot of the balance stuff. But I can see, even just from a design perspective, so I just throw over the fence all my horrible stuff, and then you're like, how the hell am I going to balance this? Effectively, like, so even with the spellcaster side, so one of the things we initially wanted with the spellcasting is a lot of it's like over time type effects that, so for example, with the volcano being the really obvious one, right? Like you can create this thing, and then you can turn into an animal and do other stuff at the same time. So we needed on the human side a lot of things that last for a long time. But the problem you then run into when you actually go to balance the thing is like, okay, well, if you've just got like 5 damage over time style spells, why not just cast all of them and then you don't have to ever do anything else, right? Like, so it's like that kind of stuff makes it really hard. So then you have to start thinking, okay, we want to make it so that you cast a long-term thing as a human, but then being an animal is going to augment that so that it improves it. So for example, with the tornado, it's got a similar mechanic to the little twisters that the hunters have, where ground effects can empower it with extra elemental stuff. And so then we're like, okay, well, if the animal forms are the ones that can create the ground effects, then that means that you're kind of like, you're going to want to do, you know, like, to mix that with the tornado, you now have to have both the animal forms and the spellcaster stuff if you want to get all of that together. So it's just a lot of that thinking about how can an animal form aid a spell, how can a spell aid an animal form, like all the way through. And then, yeah, as I said, we throw it over the fence, and then Mark tries to work out what kind of numbers can actually make it
it's a web of infinite difficulty, right? Because like we're talking about the 4 forms within the class, but each of these skills also synergizes with every other class and every other skill in the game, and it just it's becoming growingly more complicated. But that's also what's fun about the game, and what all the things you can unlock and the crazy builds you can do.
Technically, you don't have to be a druid to
I mean,
transform
this week's focus has been like, okay, we had all the, like during our alpha testing and internal testing, we had like, you know, there was the I want to be all forms going between. There was the I just want to be wolf, I just want to be bear, I just want to be a dragon, and now we're getting a lot more of I just want to cast nature plant skills and do plant stuff. And so it's like, okay, well, how do we make that work? Well, because they're quite long duration, so we're having a bunch of complexity with that as well. And it honestly it does just spiral into like, oh my God, there's 20 million variables here. But it's fun. And at the end of the day, as long as it is honestly fun to play, then honestly we're golden. So, you know, I would say we're pretty much there on almost everything with this class. I'd actually say we're a little bit more prepared than normal. We've had a lot of testing. Despite that, I mean, partly because it's been in the works for so long. But yeah, it's, I don't know, like ultimately pretty fun. I'd say there's still something, obviously there's still more to do. There's obviously always more to do. But yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of enjoyment. I saw yesterday, I was just like walking past someone's computer, and, you know, someone was mentioning like, yeah, it's just fun placing 6 volcanoes and then just slamming on them. I was like, all right, sweet, you do you. Like, that's fine.
I was definitely enjoying obliterating bosses in bear form, like with dropping tornadoes, and there's the totem which you can summon in animal form. And then you're putting fishes down and they're exploding, and you're putting extra things on the ground and they're exploding. And there was definitely some boss deletion going on there. So,
you're just walking past the just many entangles going out, and then there's that plant support general. Like, all right, it's putting the new.
I see chat being like, no, Zig, you don't get it nerfed. I do have to admit that I did already get one thing. Let's say fixed. Okay. There was a thing that was like double generating rage. So I'm like, I don't know if this was intended. Right. And like, no, the designer said that's probably not intended. Thanks, Ziggy. I'm like,
I don't know. We'll see where that goes, because I was like, no, that's fine.
This is a fish.
It made it to me, and I was like, no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because it generates rage when you first slam, and then the fishes, every time they pulse, it generates rage. I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't even know that.
Because like the totem's making it pulse, and that's generating rage.
Right.
I'm like, that doesn't seem intentional.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I love that, because that's like ridiculously powerful. That feels like way permissive. I was like, this feels illegal, but that's like... You gotta let a few things in there that feel illegal.
It's doing what the skill says.
I may not have. Maybe I didn't get enough. Okay, cool.
I don't know. They might have changed it. I'll find out afterwards. I just throw my opinion in there. I don't want to necessarily be like, you know, I try and make sure with a lot of these balanced discussions, it's not like, you know, I'm just an authority on the matter. I want to actually discuss these things through, because maybe it isn't actually fine, but, you know, my first instinct is like, yeah, like let it run wild. Like, what's the problem, you know? So
yeah, you gotta.
We'll see what happens, but whatever. They don't know what the problem is, so don't worry. Oh, now they do. Thanks, you've ruined it. Now people will know if it changed, and now
they'll see the thing not generating rage, and let's see that line of text. Now that's the Ziggy line of text. I'm developing a reputation now. Just helping finding bugs. It's okay. So, like the shapeshifting stuff.
Gotta prevent another lightning spear.
The talisman?
Yeah, the animal talisman.
And is there any limitation to just kind of like putting that on another class and just say like, I am playing my Mace Marauder or my Quarterstaff monk, and I want to do a wolf leap slam that marks targets.
You can do it. In fact, it was one of the things initially that it's funny with the audio team, because initially like, oh, we want to record like bear lines for the druid the whole time, and I'm like, hey guys, remember, anyone can turn into this animal. Are you actually going to commit to every single class is going to have like three different extra versions of every single line the character can deliver?
Maximum effort.
It's like, yeah, that's a bit tricky. So we ended up going with a voice mod in the end. But that was one of those.
It's like their kind of their thoughts. I think it shifts to. It almost sounds like, to me, that's what it sounds like. They're like, they're thinking it or something like that. I don't know.
But would it be completely impossible to record every single line an additional 3 times
like,
for every character class?
Voice actors, everybody come back and we need you to roar like a bear.
Exactly.
We need you to roar like a bear.
Every class can be an animal. It's exactly the same as the end of the weapon restriction. Ultimately, being a bear is the same as having a mace, which may sound a little bit odd, but that is actually
being a bear is the same as having a mace.
I didn't even think about that. Wait, so you can use mace skills while in bear?
No. What I meant was that it's the same. I mean, it's the same in the sense that it's just a weapon type, right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
right.
like,
Okay.
yeah.
Damn it, now we have to make that possible.
Well, you can turn into powers.
That's unique item territory
Yep.
for the future.
It often gets talked about, like the idea of like, why are things like so weapon locked? And I've always maintained the position that you guys want to kind of do that as much as possible initially, and then in the future you can blur the lines a little bit. Like there's maybe in the future you're like, oh well, maybe this skill has a way of crossing over.
We can do, but the thing is, a lot of the identity of a weapon type really comes a lot from what it can do, and so that's the kind of the main reason why we do it that way. But but the thing is as well, with the weapon swapping, I mean, you can still use skills from different elements, different weapons and things like that.
The thing is, like, it's funny that you mentioned that with the bear, because like definitely some of the bears, I noticed parallels between some of its skills and some of the mace stuff, and I could see absolutely combining like this bear skill that places fishes with the other stuff on the mace that triggers the fishes. Like there's like very obvious like cross synergy build.
Well, I mean, they're adjacent classes, right? I mean, you've got like strength versus strength int. Like we want to be able to make sure that some of those key elements do like cross over, just so that to open up the way to have synergy between the different classes more easily.
Yeah. Well, as you get more classes and more skills, you obviously get an overlap of the kind of mechanics and keywords and stuff, iterating, and thus they will always cross-synergize. And where there still will be new things a class offers, yes, there's always going to be a bunch of stuff that they use that will then interact with all the other skills. So.
Yeah, and now you added plants and plants that grow from rain, and there's a plant keyword that has overgrown as a keyword.
Like... It's interesting actually, those ones, because they're on completely opposite sides of the tree. You've got dex versus strength int, and that's been a little bit hard to kind of like get the like where the mechanic should go on one side versus the other. So where we ended up going is that the nature side of things for plants on the strength int is like you've got the poison on the dex side versus the kind of like just pure nature like physical damage spells on the strength inside, but that's been fun though, because now it's actually been really fun designing the supports, because the more classes we have, the more we can start to think, okay, like here's a support that's for something obscure. How can we make it so this can apply to some other kind of thing on the opposite side of the tree, where like now you've got some interesting interaction. So there could be some kind of like thing where growing plants as a ranger could be sort of something. I mean, like I can't say I've tested the potential there myself, but like we made all of that work. All the plants can, like plant stuff all has mechanics around like watering the rangers' plants is like a thing. They all have ways that works.
I mean, that definitely opens up interesting party options in the future as well. Like I do like the idea of being like a rainy druid watering.
It's a thing. It's easily a thing. It's not even hard to do as well.
Right.
It's kind of just like, thanks, druid, you buffed poison rangers.
Yeah.
It's kind of just what happened.
Yeah. Good. Yes, and the rain buffing lightning skills as well, like increasing shock chance. It's pretty wild how much stuff you've just jammed into one class here. How did you like kind of settle on a identity for the wyvern in particular? I feel like people know what a bear is, people know what the wolf is, and even a lot of the like druid stuff is pre-established as like, you got plants, and you got like nature, and you got like lifting up the earth, that sort of stuff.
Well, we really wanted to have a third form that was a little bit out there in terms of different from what you'd seen in another game. I mean, obviously, cool. Like every game that's got transformations has the bear and the wolf, right? That's just like the staple. But and actually, for that, funnily enough, for that reason, we couldn't not do it. There was actually a period there where we weren't going to have a wolf because we were a little bit unhappy. Yeah, with us, and it's just like, well, exactly right. That was the reaction. That was the reaction of like all the furries come out of the woodwork and like, you gotta have a wolf.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare exactly right. So like, okay, we'll
damn
have
furries.
Yeah, exactly. Don't anger them. So that was a real concern. So we decided to go. We needed the two familiar, and then we needed one that was a little bit more out there. And really, when we were looking at the bear and the wolf, it was kind of like we want the slower, harder hitting. We want the faster and like speedy kind of version, obviously being the wolf. We also wanted something that had some range elements, and then a sort of more spellcastery vibe a little bit more. And so we sort of thought about it a little bit like, what animal is ranged? Like it's not really there's kind of not a lot out there that can really sort of do that. And so eventually we settled on the wyvern. I mean, someone of course at one point was like, "How about a dragon?" And we're like, "What the heck? What are you talking about?" But then eventually I thought about it, and it's like, actually, you know what? There's some potential here.
If you suggested to me, I told you not to do it because there's no way you could make it look good and not look stupid. But
it eventually worked. It was hard though. We did get there.
It actually looks pretty cool.
It does look cool.
But it's kind of a spell blade almost. Like it's got a bit of range stuff, but it's got a bit of like spell kind of melee things going on.
I mean, as it should be for Strength Int.
Yeah, and you were asking what the passive buffs were. I was looking at it before. It's like it's got buffs to freeze, shock, and energy regeneration actually, as well, like energy recharge, I think.
It's a shame you knew. The reason I was actually being vague is I knew what they were. I just wanted to change them.
Okay. I mean,
oh no!
Do something.
Sorry
cool.
for my slight disingenuousness.
Do something cool.
That's so funny. He
feel
knew
like they
he
shouldn't. I didn't want them to be offensive benefits.
Yeah, they're supposed to be defensive.
It forces you into certain build types. Whereas, like, if they're utility or defensive, that way they will work across all board. That's my general philosophy. So I was like, I feel like I want to have a go at trying to design the energy shield thing. I don't mind. I wanted to have a go at designing stuff that's more utility or defensive only, and that way you don't feel like, oh, I should have to play lightning or fire because it gets the passive benefits. That way, if you wanted to do a kind of weird out there thing, it doesn't feel so bad, but we'll see what I come up with.
Do you have an idea, or are you still figuring it out?
Nah, I got no clue. I don't know. You could play on the fact it's got, like, wings to, something defensive for block, or something for, hard carapace maybe, or... I don't know, the fact it has wings, something to do with the
Deflecting
wings.
projectiles or something, maybe.
I got like a book that my daughter really likes to read that's like full of dragon lore. I'll send you some ideas.
All right, sweet, yeah. Dragon, they hoard gold, right? Gold finds?
Yeah, totally.
That sounds like it.
Eat
Gold
eat
find.
piles of gold for buffs or something.
There's gold over there. Quick, shapeshift, pick it up, shapeshift back. No, I'm obviously joking, please. I'm not doing that.
Gold find, no, please don't. Mandatory dragon gold find build. I know it's kind of funny though. It's distinctly PoE. So the druid is this like strength int class, and with the Templar we had the idea more of like you've got the armor energy shield stuff, but that's still the case here, as that's the strength int base. But I feel like the energy shield stuff is not as iconic to druid. How have you incorporated that and made it feel like something that makes sense, or like in what ways have you incorporated that to the druid? I feel like it's not obvious.
Yeah, look, it's a little bit off in terms of the feel there, but at the end of the day, we kind of don't really have many options as far as what we can do. I mean, like that, it is important for it to be that it has that, like armor and energy shield approach. There's a few sort of interesting, what do you call them, spirit reservation gems. I don't know I can never remember what the official name of that is. That sort of interact with that stuff in a dual way. So there's like that bark skinned thing that effectively allows you to take advantage of energy shield to generate armor. Like, so when you lose energy shield, you get armor instead, and like it like creates little bits of bark on your skin. As you there's like things like that we've added. But it's a little bit of a thematically weird thing. I think probably the weirdest part about that is like, yeah, you're gonna have energy shield as a bear. It's a bit strange. Like, getting hit as a bear and then there's a little energy shield pop. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Kind of has to be that way.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, I suppose, sure. You can get full armor if you want, but
I feel like because there's like such a range of identities within that one class as well, that you've got the bear maybe that doesn't really align as much with that. There's definitely more armor stuff.
Yeah, so you could build more strength when depending on what animal form you're playing, of course.
Yeah, whereas like the wyvern potentially has more of that kind of magical aspect to it, where it's like that's
I mean, and that's why the wyvern itself does get the benefits to energy shield, and the bear does get the benefits to armor in order to kind of make it so you are like, depending on what animal form you're going, there's a bit of alignment in the defenses there.
I mean, really, it's the tree that inspires and motivates this. Right, like a sorceress could be on the bottom side of the tree and still have the same skill set, and obviously the damage nodes are a bit weird, but it could work. There's nothing saying. I mean, that's part of the beauty of the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had that experience where I was like, because it wasn't as clear, I was almost inventing my own lore there a little bit, where I was speccing the regen from the druid, and then the Zealot's Oath right there. I'm like, oh, this actually like. You're converting your natural kind of like life regen into energy shield. Like, this is kind of the druid's thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, that is a way for sure. Like, keystones certainly are pretty powerful, and we have a bunch of. I think there's an extra. I can't remember what it's doing. There's one that says "Do not translate" on it, so it's in progress. But yeah, we were playing around with trying to have some armor, energy shield, more hybrid stuff going on with the keystones there. It was based on what's it called? PoE1's, is it Divine Shield? Is that the name of the keystone? I can't remember. Too many names. But, it's based on that, but not exactly the same, like a derivative of that we're trying to get going. But, yeah, it's just because I was like, we need more keystones that I feel more druidy. And I know there's a rage one there that is embracing the animal ferocity, where it, like, what does it do? It's like doubles your maximum rage, but makes you don't get inherent bonuses from rage. So it's like, if you really want to do the skills that are rage consumers, like rampage, and you just want to rampage for as much time as possible, you obviously go for that keystone. You lose the benefits of rage, but you get to rampage around for twice as long. So a few things like that we're trying to add that are thematic as well. And I think that's another one of the really cool parts about adding a class is 1/6 of our tree was just filled with just placeholder garbage. Like, actually. Like, there is a giant link thing there. There's no links in the game, really. It's like, what are we doing with that? It's like... And so I was like, well, that looked like a vine. Just make that a plant thing. And, so now it's a plant thing that talks about overgrown plants. And but we filled in that whole bit of the tree. And guess what? Now witches and sorceresses have more energy shield stuff on that kind of direction around towards the druid, and warrior has more, and and I don't just mean energy shield, I mean everything, all the mechanics, right? All the int mechanics are kind of there, the strength mechanics, everything. So
it is nice we finally have a class in every different part of the tree, so like we don't have this like weird open stuff anymore.
Yeah, that area of the tree was a little strange. I mean, it's such a massive tree already, and you're adding more to it, and then like I have to wonder, like, you added this Oracle class. Like, I saw the Shaman one, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I expected. But then I saw the Oracle, and you guys had like 130 extra
so
passives.
That's crazy.
Like, why do you do this to yourself? Like, that seems ridiculous.
It's fun.
Because it's cool. Because it's cool.
There's so many passives
you could ask for, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I really went through, I mean, I know we showed 2 examples, but I was like, I really want to make sure there's like cool off-spec stuff here. I want to make sure that if you want to be able to get more of a certain thing, this is a way to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, it still costs passive points to allocate, right? So it's more about, maybe you want some stuff that normally you'd have to go to the deck section for and get, maybe some projectile related stuff, and now you can get it up there because it allows for some kind of weird off class, and it was all themed around, if you got to live your life again, what would you change? Like, what different paths would you take? And so it's this interesting, like...
Whoa.
Existential crisis is a node.
That fits period.
Initially, I always write my little blurbs about them to get them in the live stream, and I was like, it's got all the passives not yet added to the game. I thought it was an interesting way of looking at it. Not that that's actually how it is, but I thought it was like a kind of... It's like lessons you learn, you get to now use in advance kind of. I thought it was just a cool thematic thing that linked to the class. And it's easy, by the way, as designers to see that kind of thing and go, we have a million things to do. Like, is that really... Like, that's too much time.
Yes.
Too much work, right? And I'm just like...
Sad, isn't it?
If we say that about everything, you get nothing cool.
Launch,
and so it's that, and I mean, even the shamans, like runes,
I don't know, man.
Powers, like we're setting ourselves up for a large amount of cumulative time over a while, right? Any rune we add, anything, like we have to add and consider the shaman stats, and we have, that's another
fresh new stuff that y'all.
Other whole axis of things we have to meta balance every league, and same with the Oracle passives, and every time we change the tree, and like when we eventually add the Templar, we're going to have to relocate all those nodes because that tree's going to get.
I mean, people are going to have
now
like
three,
full-on
2.5 classes in one section, but. It's worth it.
I know.
It is actually worth it. You add
kinda,
so many builds, so many cool things, and if you don't want to deal with it, just pick another class. It's fine. You don't have to. Or pick other nodes on the same class. You don't have to take that node.
Yeah.
So.
I think this like very clearly communicates that you're also okay with this idea of there being just like hidden cool stuff to discover that you're not going to know ahead of time, because you can't like look at the class options on the character selection screen and know what the passives are going to be that are hidden behind the Oracle Ascendancy, right? It's like, yeah, that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you just look. There's always going to be community.
I mean, there's a lot of speculation they're killing Bow and Deadeye
guides and all that kind of stuff. So
they should. I mean,
like
I love the
hardcore nerfing
I
it.
actually got my secret.
Like, it doesn't mean it won't be viable still.
It was an
but
actual
it probably just
final
won't be as
secret,
fast.
and maybe there's more. Well,
You want to do more of that, don't you? I can tell. Look at him. He wants to do more.
Of course, I love it. I love people having cool secret things they can find, and it isn't just
They
like
get patch notes in hour and 45 minutes.
1000% pre-planned. out of the
dig
gate.
into-
Like, I understand the need to plan. I understand the need to have
good.
confidence in a build, and
The
you don't want to
lightning
go in and
spear,
only
that
realize
was
you've made the
all
wrong
from the,
decisions and stuff
monk,
like that,
wasn't
for
it?
sure. But I
Lightning
definitely want
spear
to
is the
find that
huntress.
balance where you have that while you
the
also get your
huntress,
cool
gotcha,
secrets that you get to add to the game that are fun.
Yeah. I think there's like a couple more chat questions on Druid, but we'll try and move on to the other
Let's
stuff
update
soon because I
both
know
games.
people want to talk about the other thing. I could talk about Druid all day. I think the design's super interesting here. But
Link mechanics
some of
is
the
good,
questions
though.
were that I think
did
people are a
look
bit
good.
confused
The
about
whole, like,
the
building
talismans
that
and the
temple thing looked pretty
forms and
neat.
how that stuff works. So the talismans are effectively just like another weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
And things like
exciting.
attack speed, movement speed on gear, and everything will affect you in your
Yeah,
movement.
absolutely,
Animal
right.
forms. It's
Absolutely.
not like I think because a lot of other games do it where when you change form, like all of a sudden, oh, your weapon's not affecting you, or this thing's not affecting
Right.
you.
Well, I mean, effectively, so we're
But
doing
yeah,
the
they
changing
said they
form by
balance,
utilizing
like,
weapon swap,
90
so you've
of
got
the
two
active
weapon
skill
sets inherently,
gems
and the
or
talisman
something,
effectively
so who
serves as your
knows?
weapon.
That's why I'm just waiting for patch notes before
if
I
you're playing
theory
a
craft
druid, you're gonna have
anything.
to learn how to use weapon specialization passives and stuff like
And
that. If you
then
want to
I
have
recommend waiting
the spellcaster and,
to, like,
and melee thing. Now, a lot of the passive tree nodes, like
look
in
at
the
builds to
druid
see what
section of the
people
tree,
come
all
up with
have
once
like
people
attack
know the
and
patch
spell
notes
damage
and
and that kind of
shit.
stuff. It's like certainly for most
Yeah,
of
I'm
the
gonna
start of the
look- I'm gonna
class,
wait
you won't have to
till,
worry
like,
about it. But as you get deeper in,
Saturday.
and if you want to do hybrid spell
When things
attack, you are
calm
going to have
down
to
Saturday,
think
I'll
about like,
probably
okay,
try
what are my
to
attack
test
passives, what are my
run,
spell passives, and do
The-
that.
I was actually surprised at how
Maybe through,
simple and straightforward it was to do. So, like the weapon specialization tree thing, you
Like
still
a,
do need to think about and understand how that works.
solar
But
cell found,
the
solar fill natural.
basics, of it, like using
Yeah.
the actual skills, just happens automatically. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never have
exactly.
to actually go in and
No,
tag a
you
skill
don't
as
have to
a
worry about
certain
that
thing.
part. Just because of the fact that, because this has always been the rule, but it's really apparent here. Like,
Yeah.
if it'll swap to the weapon set that can use
I'm
the
excited
ability,
for some
so therefore you don't have to
ASAP
actually
movement
tweak
guys
it.
from
You just
Nashville.
put it in and it kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I tried to use my spell, it would shift to human
Yeah,
automatically
exactly,
and use the
exactly.
staff.
Ooh.
And so like that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
all
Three divines from
automated,
shipments.
and I didn't have to like program
Nice.
that.
Right.
like like I have on some other builds.
This
I
morning
guess.
when I was
But yeah,
at work,
mostly
I
that's
had
just because
to
you get into a
rescue one of
situation
my
with those where
Mac
because it's
device
usable
people.
on both.
Oh,
you have to
shit.
start
You had to do
going
that
in
on
there and
your-
tweaking that stuff. But yeah,
Steam
because
Deck, yeah,
it makes it
yeah.
much simpler when you don't have to worry
Wasn't
about that.
bad.
Yeah, so there's a
actually. It was
decent
pretty- I
onboarding
didn't
there,
die,
given
so.
the potential complexity
Nice.
of that. All right, so we'll move on now to the Fate of the Val expansion, and there's definitely more of a like clear divide between
really
the
am
two
almost
things,
pretty
and
much
you even
done
actually
with
made two
PoE1
separate
though.
trailers
Yeah.
this time
For this
around.
Well, it would have been
anyways.
super weird to have these like
Yeah.
two completely clashing themes in the trailer. So yeah, in
know.
the end we were like, that's like
Wanna
normally
put
of course we'd make
more
one
time
trailer
on
with
it, but
everything, but we're kind of like, man, it's
claiming all
really
my
hard to
shit
unify
from
these two things
town,
in a kind of reasonable way. So yeah, in the end we
Seeing
decided to go with two trailers and just like show the content.
Yeah, I'm
Because
watching
They're
the Q&A
not connected, like,
No, not at all.
until we get to
Yeah,
the patch
they're
notes,
not-
and then we'll look at the
aside
patch
from both
notes, and then I might get on PoE2. My stream keeps buffering.
having
though.
a buttocks
Piece
in
of
it,
shit.
they're not connected.
It was on my phone. I tried watching it on my phone.
Yeah, that was total accident, by the way. It was just like two totally unrelated.
Yeah, sure.
It only just started.
I
It's really
was
weird.
praising the equality of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was great. There's buttocks for everyone here in this trailer. Excellent. Thank you. So this expansion is, and we saw this a little bit where you tried to work in the previous League mechanics into like story quest stuff, which I was super keen on. This expansion definitely feels much more deeply linked into the campaign and story, to the point where like Doriani's saying, go back in time
Druid
and try
does
and
look
change
fun, though.
these things that
Yeah,
happen
yeah,
in
yeah.
the campaign.
Forms that
I
it
was like, this
has.
feels like a
Yeah,
major
they even
campaign
said
story
it
beat.
wasn't like
Yeah, so, I mean,
power.
There's a few things
Like,
going on there. So,
it's-
like initially,
they said they should have made it
this league, unlike
look
I think
stronger,
what we've done
because it
too
looks
much in
kind
the
of
past.
weak. But
The
they
storyline
said it's
develops
just
quite a
like
lot
the
more, kind of, like,
numbers for when
through
they did the
through the
testing
campaign with different
to
events that happen and sort of link in a
if
lot.
things
And
were
part of
happening
the
as
reason
fast
originally
as
for
normal
that is that one of
gameplay,
the
you'd have a
things
hard
we
time
sort of
seeing what's going on.
don't like necessarily about how leagues.
So they
what
slowed
leagues do
things down for
is,
that,
like,
but they
you've
said
got
they're
this
probably going to
situation
put
where
out
you,
some
walk out of
gameplay
town
video
and,
of like
you know,
what it
literally
actually
the
looks
first
like
area,
with
and
stats
it's like some eldritch
for
entity
real.
is immediately recruiting
Because
your
people on
services,
the
you know
alpha
what I
are
mean?
saying like the
It's
werewolf and
it's
shit is
actually
like
very
super OP.
like
Put this
unfortunate.
rusty thing in your body.
Exactly right. So we kind of wanted to try and make sure that there's a little bit
But it
more
looks
like
super
of a,
slow
of
and
like
shit
a,
in there.
it doesn't feel like the world
Trailer.
is
Were
on your
there
shoulders like right from the get go.
NDAs
Like there's actually
for
like a little
people playing
bit
the alpha?
a growth of
Because I
epicness
saw
throughout
stuff about the wyverns
the league.
yesterday. That's
So
why I
like
asked
if we'd
you
have had it, so
if
it's
they
like you're
had
time
released
traveling into
stuff,
the
and I'm
past,
like,
like the moment you walk out the
somebody
gate, it's like okay, yeah, it's just
talking
not
about
quite
it
right. So
somewhere, because I
yeah,
kept
you
seeing
we
I don't know.
decided what we'll do is we'll make so that there is the temple. We've got to kind of like
I don't know.
almost
They
a
had
AD
people
version of the
like
mechanic where you've
like
got a
Ziggy
lesser
gets to
number of
play
rooms,
in the
like it's kind of a bit
studio
simpler,
and
like
stuff
to
because
start
he
out
goes
with.
for the Q&A.
And then once you pass the sort of key point in the story,
I don't know
like,
what they're
really opens
allowed
up, and
to
you go into the
say.
past, you've got a little more story stuff going on. It did add quite a lot more work to kind of have to make
Maybe
two
they
versions
just
of a bunch of
teased
things
it.
and that kind of stuff. But I think it is worth it because it means that it feels like the league has a lot more going on, it just doesn't kind of break you don't break immediately the feeling of the world, which has been a problem in the past.
I have very strong opinions on this one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, dark horror gothic secondary 3 dimensions deep of like I'm in the past and or in some sort of demon realm now. I don't know what's going on here.
And I mean, it's fine as you go, but this is actually one of the challenges I think we're going to have just designing leagues generally, is that they're going to require a bit more work to make them feel right. I mean, even just something as simple as like the Val sacrifice circles that you get throughout the world. Normally what we would have done is like make one thing and call it a day. Here what we've done is we've got like 10 or more. There's a ton of variations of those where for like each act we're like, in like for each area we're thinking like, okay, which like we need more of these so that we can use them so they feel natural in the place where they are, like do a bit of material reskin, stuff like that. Like that's kind of the stuff that we now need to do to sort of make it feel like
I'm almost glad I didn't say anything because I had a good reaction to the wyvern.
PoE1 style, betrayal basement. You just okay, so there's just a basement everywhere, like in the mud flats. Like, okay, it just doesn't fit anymore. So we want to make sure that these things are
the reveal and like when they
like
first showed the wyvern, I was like, oh shit! I thought we were just getting bear and wolf.
I'm not just in a basement in the mud flat in a swamp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Val is a very distinct thing, and it's very like tied to Act 3 as well. So I was a bit worried about like the tone of Act 1 with the Val stuff, but then like it fits in reasonably well. Like you've definitely taken good care to make sure that doesn't.
Well, I mean, it's a matter of making it feel like there's some ancient ruin that then later someone came along, like some Mesamites went in there and they built some stones around it because they thought it was this thing. And like, we just thought a little bit about like how would the culture here have reacted to the fact that there was this ancient ruin from long ago in this location and that kind of thing. Yeah,
okay, interesting. And you mentioned to me that this is the bar for what you want to be doing. This is the quality level for what you want to be doing.
Yeah. So I'd say that like it does sort of. I would say here, like the level of polish and the stuff that we're doing, like the amount of content that a league needs to actually be good. Like, obviously, when we did 020, the league was a little bit like, it was just the Asmerian spirits, and like, I mean, it was a league, but it wasn't really. Didn't have like the depth of content and stuff that you needed. And then with 030, I think we did a lot better. Like it came a lot better, but I still don't think we quite got there in terms of
like
the
PoE1 level kind of.
This one here, I think,
like,
you get up to the level of quality that we really want to
mechanic,
PoE2, like post-release and everything, and like the kind of the amount of content you need for a league. Like it needs to be quite sizable and good. And it did take a lot of effort, but I think it's worth it because it sort of shows you what we can do when we.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like a high bar that you're effectively kind of like locked in, committing to for expansions.
Well, hopefully I don't come to regret it, but it's honestly the scope did explode a little bit because when we.
So they have the Abyss nodes.
When I initially
on
designed the league, I was kind of like, okay, we're gonna have like some limited number of rooms.
I don't think we're getting the Atlas tree until next week.
And it kind of didn't seem like it was
Atlas tree and like
really in the context of PoE2, it's
more like pinnacle endgame content and
if you're going to
stuff.
spend effort
It's
to
all going to
upgrade
be
a room,
0.5.
it needs to feel meaningfully different and have meaningfully better rewards. So that pretty soon expands into like a really huge list of like different combat encounter mechanics and different like crafting mechanics and different rewards and everything.
Fully keyed into what he was saying.
There are so many new rewards and things.
It's too bad, but I mean, they can only do so much. They had to design a whole league mechanic and Druid, and they said
the number of expanding.
They said it was really tough getting Druid to work. Like
we could take some inspiration from what
taking like the model that works for just a humanoid type form and doing it for like the wyvern that's like walking on its like arms and stuff that way and everything. They thought it was going to be impossible, but they managed to like get it to work and stuff. So it sounds like it took a lot of work to get the Druid functional.
I played this game called Loop Hero and I really enjoyed it. And then I mean everyone's going to think that the game we're inspired by is Blueprints, but it actually wasn't. It was Loop Hero. And
it was so good because I told you about that game and then it was like a week later or something, you sent me a message like, "Hey, I've made this little program."
Yeah. So I prototyped up like a thing that's for what would become the UI for Incursion. We actually ended up. It's funny because this is like the first league I've actually personally done code on in like quite a long time.
You really got into it.
Yeah. Because I mean, it was a real fun, just like evening thing to like go and just like work on this design. One of the great things about doing that is that I got to make so many design changes just in the course of like of writing it, like which I don't think necessarily would have gone exactly the same way if I was getting other people to do it. So yeah, that was really fun. And just make a and then effectively the back of it is like the code that I wrote, but obviously the UI of it is like a whole thing that a bunch of other people worked on and made look really awesome. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's really funny.
What is it like about this one that grabbed you so much? Because you got so involved and so personally, like working on it at home.
Yeah, I just
like...
really enjoy this kind of like
the Q&A
within a game, like little metagame things. And just that dungeon
also
design
fuck you.
thing is just a really fun thing to me. It's really fun.
Love a good fireplace.
You know, and I just like coming up with all the little ways that they can interact and that kind of thing, and you know, trying to make things feel a bit different and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's got this like iterative design where you're building a temple, you run it like it's
they were saying like he got inspired by the whole like temple mechanic with like building the like tile sets and everything.
Exactly.
Through playing
does,
Loop
with
Hero.
that design, then, I'm
I played
curious,
that game
does
for a
it,
while
like, fully
too.
reset at
But
some
apparently
point,
he
or
got
is it
recommended that game by
It
Ziggy,
never fully
who's in the
resets, but when you
Q&A
kill
right now,
Zeri
and
or,
then he just
defeat
went
an
ham
architect,
on the
quite
game
a
and
lot
loved
of the
it.
temple gets
And
destroyed,
then
so there's
he
that
said
kind of
he hasn't even done
destabilization
programming
thing.
in a while
So,
because he's kind of like the
goes
head
back
of things.
to not the
So
start,
he's like
but
so
kind of- I
busy
think
he
it
just
removes,
like
two-thirds of
allocates
the
work
rooms. There's some
now.
number like that it,
But he actually sat
that
down at
point,
night
then
and
you
just
kind of have
like
to build up again.
programmed some of the
That's just
like
that effectively
the
means
concepts
that,
for this league
like,
mechanic.
When you do those options, you're getting like new reward
Because he
rooms
just
and
got
things
so
to play, so it's
into
giving
it.
you new goals, and then you have to work towards those goals again.
Inspired
and then
by
ideally, those
Loop
reward
Hero,
rooms can be
which is pretty
rewarding
cool.
enough that the benefit of going back to smaller is sorry, or I'd say the negative of going back to smaller is completely outweighed by the benefits you're getting from the extra rooms that you're able to place.
So you can
get your Twitch
juice
drops.
it a fair bit too.
You can,
because
yeah.
There's a lot
I
of like
should have.
modifiers that are getting
I
added
kept
on
it up
base
on
room,
my
and you can
phone
place
even though it
quite a
was
lot of them.
Yeah,
lagging.
you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there? Do
I
you foresee
should
people
have. I'm
building
going
out like a
to look now,
huge temple and
50%
then
something.
kind of not having it decay as much as possible?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not
I mean,
running out Zeri?
it's absolutely intended that you'll do that. Like, I mean, once you've defeated at Zeri enough times, you've got the uniques from there, and you've done like other things like that.
Yep,
Then you absolutely
verdant,
will
wild dodge
like
roll,
probably want like
97%
for
out of
ultra end
45
gameplay when you really
minutes, as
want
long
like
as
the
it
most
doesn't
challenging stuff, and you're
stop,
just like
that should
looking
be
to
good.
get like as many double corrupts as you can and stuff like that. You're probably going to want to keep the temple large and specifically not do the stuff that would cause it to destabilize. Because if you don't kill the architect and you don't kill at Zeri, then it will it'll only pull you back. I can't remember the exact number of rooms, but there's some number of rooms that go away when it's quite full, and then yeah, you can just juice it really high and have really
as they don't end
challenging
in the
in-game
next 5
scaling
seconds,
tier
I should
stuff.
get it. I'm
Because one of
97%.
the things we were sort of concerned about is that
You're good.
there
It's
is
going
some
to like
in-game
the
content
5th
that
if
just
you
doesn't
watch like
really
any
scale
stream
as hard as it
streaming
needs to
PoE2.
scale in order to make it properly
I'll
in-game
get it then.
viable.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that this was not the case here, that it actually does scale enough into the in-game.
Okay, so like designed to be pretty farmable and to be pretty late game
Of
relevant.
course, yeah.
It gets pretty hectic with all those mods.
Yeah.
With how many rooms are on there and like.
Yeah. But also just other things that you want to do, like so for example at the start of the game,
I'm on
you
Quinn.
can
I don't
only
wanna watch
you
Quinn. I wanna
can't like
watch-
store up temple runs, as it were. As you get into the game, then now we start to have it so that you can store up more runs, so that you can like map for a
Good.
while, then like do a bunch of
I
incursions.
think we have it that eventually you can do 60 maps and then temples and then 60 maps then temples.
if you want. So you can,
if you want,
yeah, yeah.
or you can do 6 then a temple, then 6 then a temple.
So you can effectively
or
store up
anywhere-
10
anywhere
runs,
in between.
10 runs
Nice.
if you want.
I feel like
Oh,
with these
cool.
things, like now I keep seeing like, you guys have thought of it. The problem
Well, the thing is,
You
it's
can
not
like
so much
store
as
your
doing stuff.
temple
I mean,
runs
like,
if
so
you
for
don't want to
example,
do
the whole,
them
like,
every
taking the
6
currency away from the
maps.
temple,
You can store up to
temple
10,
craft
so you
inside
could
the
do
temple
like
thing.
one
Yes.
big
That's
temple
just a
run
hard
every
lesson from
60
PoE1
maps
where, you
instead
just
of every
need
6.
You say we thought of it, and I have, because I'm just going to bring it up. But like,
That's
and
huge.
a thing about, and this is something that I'm on the fence about a little bit, personally. But yeah, the thing with the killing architect and Zeri destroying a bunch of the temple, creating that clash of either farm temple or farm boss, can be quite a divisive thing for people.
Right.
You're looking at Betrayal Katarina, right, and the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like we've now on PoE1 we separated those two things, so they're not, because it always felt bad doing one or the other. Or I could feel bad doing one or the other, depending on how the balance went. And so you might get a similar thing here. Now, of course, the amount of the temple that can get destroyed is variable, and there's a bunch of stuff we can obviously tweak. But yeah, like getting that right and feeling right will be important. It's honestly hard to say if it is right now. But it's a thing, we say we've thought about it, but it can be very easy to see that and be like, hey, they're doing the same mistake they've made last time. Which, you're not wrong. Except depending on honestly having the lever this time in place of how much gets destroyed instead of
Planned for
entire
that.
board reset kind of thing. We get to control that a
they had
lot
the
better and
Forge
iterate on that if
Masters.
we need to. So
Yeah, that's true. You've already
we've thought
established.
about it, but it can.
First one,
I could see,
second
because I was just thinking about it, going, I reckon people.
I think it's in the first one, isn't it?
I was just looking at it, going like,
Not the bench.
the idea that it's like,
The map, the gravity well portal.
hold on, I can't
bundles
farm the
in there.
bosses. I either
I
have to
thought-
pick bosses or pick temple. it can be quite bad.
Well,
so
yeah, that's clear.
Forge
Then that you've
Master's
kind of already got your
bench
hand hovering
hideout
over the lever,
decoration
waiting
is
to like
only
adjust
in
it
the
as
third
needed.
one.
yeah, and it's honestly kind of hard to know with.
Oh, I
mean,
see.
even if you-
You're
again,
saying you
it's-
wish it was in the
the kind
60.
of-
I thought you
All
were
this stuff
saying
specifically
it
is
was
you're
in the
talking
second
about,
pack, the one
that's
with the
kind of
Kraken
thing
and
that is
everything,
hard
the
to test
pirate.
internally,
Yeah,
because how
yeah.
can you do just
Oh,
like
no, I
you
don't-
can't really test like what
I was
is
like,
what
I'm
is
pretty sure
weak
it's in the
grinding.
first
You gotta feel
type
like,
of
you know,
supporter
it's,
pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the first.
So
it's in the
I expect
eternal
us to
precursors
maybe
or something like
maybe
that.
we hit the sweet spot. Who knows? Hopefully, but I could imagine that this is a thing that gets adjusted for sure.
Yeah, so you've made the like the ability to sell like the corruptions, the double corruptions as an itemizable thing you can just take away and sell. Is there any reason to like itemize the temple like we did in PoE1?
Nah, so that was really more of a band-aid solution in PoE1 because we didn't have an easy way to change that. Like I'd prefer that the temple is your temple and that you don't sell them, but just that all the rewards are the things that you can trade. Like that, like trading the rewards was the reason why we
being able to itemize the shit in the temple is so sick.
Yeah, just if this time Fiddle, we're
That
just
was
making sure to design the stuff in a way that can
That was so fucking
take
smart.
back, that you can take with you.
Yeah.
No need for the band-aid in the first
Yeah,
place.
exactly.
There's some really basic crafts that like, you know. your
That was the
classic
problem with
exalted orbs and stuff
PoE1,
like that.
especially during
Mostly,
Alpha League.
honestly, in the
Is
campaign,
there was
Yeah.
no
And
way
this
to,
is
you
so
know how
when
you
you're doing
pulled
the
your
temple,
temple
you're
out
getting
as an
not
item
just the opportunity,
earlier?
like, 'cause obviously
There's
some
no
of
way
the
to
double
do
craft
that
stuff,
during the
you're not
original
gonna do that
league.
at, like,
That's something
level
they
8,
added way,
you know?
way later.
I mean, Varlobs aren't even. In
So
the
you
game
would
yet.
have to,
So
if you
have
got
this
like a
thing
gem
where,
room or like a
it's-
good
well,
level
you don't get
3
a lot of
room,
crafting. Now, there are still
you would
rewards,
have to
there
run
is,
it when you
of
run your
course, on that, but
temple.
there's also just basic crafts.
Whether you had something to use in it or not. Now you can itemize it, and either you can sell the item to people or use it yourself later.
You feel like you're
So
actually
yeah,
wanting to use
so
it on your
cool.
gear in the
Oh.
campaign, and as you're progressing,
Oh.
and you're not because if you
Oh.
can take it, most of the
I
time you
need
just
it.
hoard it for in-game.
Yeah, that's gonna.
There's
the
those
game
things
is
to
gonna
make
be
the
so
early
good.
game have more
Oh,
content stuff
I
that
need
you
it.
want to just use right
Yeah,
there.
that's the problem. Like, what stops?
I have
you
no
from
idea
just
what build
keeping
I'm
your results
playing.
until
'Cause I feel like
endgame?
everything I want to play is going to
So
get nerfed.
You'll see those and go,
But-
I want to take that home, but just use it.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a substantial buff to campaign crafting from my experience of messing with it so far. It's like you basically go in and there's like 6 crafting rooms and you're like just going on a little crafting spree of like upgrading your gear. Or, like,
Yeah, I mean the temple. We it's funny because there's always the question whenever we make a league of like, well, what if people always say, oh, there's no reason to do this during the campaign, and it's like
The
no,
note
you
on
have
the
to
abyss
incentivize that
tree
to make it so
that
no,
makes
it's
it
actually
so
worth
your
doing.
waystone
Like, you're gonna get a
modifiers
substantial power
affect
boost if you
the
decide to
depths.
engage with the league.
yeah, you could. It seems
That's
like you can
huge,
kind of
too.
like hold off as well. Like you can be like, oh, my gear's kind of okay now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do
You
that a little
can.
bit later.
well, you always want it to be both feeling rewarding and give you obviously an advantage, and also not feel so mandatory that you're like.
I didn't realize that your
It
waystone
felt-
modifiers
it felt
didn't
like
affect
kind
it
of,
before.
a bit optional in the sense that like, oh, I really need some gear upgrades now. Let's go into the temple and spice up all my gear.
Perfect.
But that's going to
That's what we
increase
want.
like the amount of drops you get and shit
It
in
is
there.
interesting that you've got this like,
Yeah, it's gonna
Like
be
quite a
really
bit.
the broken down
Yeah.
version of the temple in the beginning, and then it basically changes into this
Why
whole
is
other
it
thing
buffering?
halfway
What
through the
fuck
campaign.
is going on with
That
this?
story beat there.
The other thing about the campaign thing is the same thing we learnt from Abyss, where we did the area specific rewards throughout the campaign. We have also dropping here.
Mine just started buffering too. It might just be Twitch.
Twitch is
From the in-world
sometimes
encounters, so
horrible.
even if you're not doing the temples, doing the in-world encounters can give you that extra drop per area.
It seems like on the back end, maybe you've kind of taken what Abyss was doing
7
and
days,
almost
22
shifted
hours,
it over.
28
Yeah,
minutes.
there's
pretty
some
much.
modifications, but yeah, it's the same kind of
Yeah.
thing.
We've effectively got our, allocated amount of rewards and crafting and stuff for what a league is allowed to do and should do, and we're just trying to make sure that, it fulfills that it fills that budget, so to speak. Of
Yeah, like you
we cancel Christmas so I can play PoE?
something like that, like kind of similar
Mm-hmm.
to before, which is good. But yeah, I was definitely, that was a huge thing with Abyss. I thought that was like a really good improvement to
Sorry, buddy,
campaigns.
it's
So it's
probably
good to
not
see
gonna
you
work that way.
continuing with that there. It felt pretty successful as a design decision. Nice. I'm really glad double corruption is back. I feel like that's a great thing from PoE1 to be returning.
one thing we've changed here is that because double corrupt existed in PoE1, you never Varlorb gear. Well, I don't say never. Obviously, there are still cases, but generally speaking, why single corrupt it to when you could double corrupt it? So we've made sure here that the double corrupt has to occur on top of a corrupted item.
That's cool.
Right.
So yeah, you have to Varlorb land it, and then you have to land the double corrupt on top of that. So
Oh man, it almost feels like you're in some cases risking something even more because like you've got that really high end unique with like a really good corruption already,
Yeah,
and now you're risking that. You're not just risking a blank item on a double corruption. So like it's a heftier risk now in
I
some
like it.
cases. Yeah,
I
that's cool.
like it.
That's the Vile spirit right there.
Like, oh man, this thing's already worth many, many divines at this point.
The double
Wow.
corrupting being on a
some
corrupted
extreme
item
moments,
already is really huge too.
So you actually
That's
have to
gonna be
though,
nice.
like it has
Exactly.
To
I don't know if
alright.
you're
That's the
listening,
mini
but what he
component,
just said
keeps
about
the usefulness of the
in
Vile
PoE
Orbs
one, it was like the
to
decision
kind of-
whether
yeah, I
you
did
Val
find
Orb
it
an
a lot of
item or
Vals,
you
just-
double corrupt it. You almost never
You'd still
Val
use
Orb
them on
because you just
lightweight
want to double
stones or whatever,
corrupt. But
but,
now,
you know,
since the
I
item
didn't
has to
want
be
them to
corrupted
just
to
be,
double
never
corrupt,
used on gear anymore
it's
because
still
you'd
worth
rather
it to
just
Val
double
Orb
corrupt
items.
it. And so it was a suggestion a developer made a while back, and I was like, you know, that's immediately a win, and I almost want to change that in PoE1 as well, but then I just forgot about it, to be honest. So, you know, I'm not sure if I do want to do that, just before everyone maybe goes like, what the hell? No. But, you know,
Consider it.
I
Under
like the
consideration.
idea, and I think it is an
I
overall
want to find
improvement.
another
Yeah.
build
Yeah,
to
that sounds
switch
like
my
a great
fucking
idea.
monk to
And then you've
for
got this
now.
whole other system now, which you had a little bit of
Just
it
to
in
tinker around a
PoE1
little
recently,
bit.
where you can corrupt uniques and it replaces a random modifier on them.
Yes.
So this is limited to specifically Adziri. No, what
Not
is it?
Azeri, Val uniques. Yeah, so we initially, I really wanted to make it so you could just replace arbitrary mods on any unique. But the
Crazy.
problem is, yes, it was just a
Unhinged.
can of worms that like was just not even possible to contain. Yeah, basically what we were like, okay, is there still a way to do this that's like not going to be quite so crazy? And then we were like, okay, if we can pick a subset of uniques, and we ended up going with Val uniques, you know, for obviously thematic reasons, then we can sort of make sure that like while it's still crazy, like there's still
The whole
some
replacing
insane
body
interactions,
parts
and kind of
thing
have
is sick.
somewhat of an understanding of
That's
what
so
happens,
cool.
But
don't
then
I
you
like
lose
the
them
way
if you
it
die.
works.
There's a random mod that's on the
Yeah,
item,
I
and
kinda
then
like that.
replaces it
That's
with another
cool.
random mod. So you can create some.
You can use it on non-Val. It works differently.
Huh?
I don't know.
what?
This is news to me. I didn't actually know that. What is that?
Excuse me?
I think it's similar to Ancient Orb in PoE1, so it like re-rolls. The idea here is like it's meant to work on these Val items because they've been like
Incompatible item error.
infused with royal bloodline
Yeah.
blood, and
Okay.
so it's like the way it works on Val uniques is different to just random uniques. Where it's like, hold on, it works a bit more chaotically here, and
Right.
you know, just changes the item entirely to something else on non-Val. So, and I only say that because obviously it's pretty bad to be like, I have to have a Val unique in order to use this.
Right.
No, you can take the currency home, so that's never the end of the world. But I want it to be like, you know, just go grab some random unique and re-roll it. Yeah, using it on the Val uniques is like quite cool. Right now, I'm trying to make sure, you know, a process that we've been doing is that we're not just replacing it with kind of just some random basic stuff. Like, that will happen. That is a part of the pull, but we're trying to go through, because we have a more limited set of uniques we have to actually do the mod replacement on. I want to make sure we're actually thinking about, for example, the Zerfi's body armor that has like Soul Leader. And it's like a level 39 base type.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, this is a tool we could use to make that more in-game viable.
Huh.
And so you can do things like heavily increase the defenses, because obviously level 39 versus a level 75 base type or whatever is going to have very different defenses. But then you can also be like, what about if I was like, what other weaknesses does this item have? Well, you can't generate Soul Eater stacks on a boss. Maybe this can turn that on, you know? And so all of a sudden you can replace, I don't know, the life regeneration rate with a Soul Eater now generates once per second while a boss is in your presence or something like that, you know? Now, these are kind of examples, but that was a specific one that I really wanted to do. So, but I was like, I don't know, what if you did plus 25 Soul Eater stacks and stuff? But it's like very specific outcomes, very specific to that unique.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a bit of that to use it as an opportunity to be able to save low-level uniques, if you know what I mean, to make them more in-game viable.
That'd be cool.
And I thought that was a cool way. And obviously that's restricted to the Val pool for now, but like, if it works and works successfully, there's no reason that like some other mechanic can't do it for Ezomite
You've
uniques
established the
and other,
concept
you know.
now, yeah.
So, you know, we'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping now, obviously, because I don't know how far through we'll get with all of these specific, because it's like a lot of stuff. Once you start doing specific things for specific uniques,
There's so many
it's
things.
a lot of stuff to implement. So I don't know how far, but I was like, let's start with the mythic uniques, the rarest, most powerful ones, and we'll work backwards, getting to the more common, you know, ones at the end.
I
and
mean,
then
you've also
we'll...
got just the general like buffing of a bunch of other uniques as well, right? I mean, there's a lot of that.
Yes,
going on.
true. And I mean, that was part of that when I was like, okay, how can we buff this? How can we buff this? How can we buff this? And then I was like, well, a lot of them are like, this is too low level. And I was like, well, we have this system in the league. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes, hopefully. And it's the kind of thing where even if we don't, obviously these leagues end up often going core in some various means. So if we don't hit the mark entirely with all the uniques, I'd like to eventually get there where we'd have a good, cool, really thought out set for literally every Val unique. So hopefully that's fun. And then you do the cool things where you just get these really, really... I assume you're going to get some that have these... You would replace the exact 2 bad sides with the exact 2... Because you can replace more than one sometimes.
Oh.
And you get the you get the exact, like, holy, this unique just went from being worth, something 1 divine to 300 divine, kind of territory. So hopefully that happens. If it doesn't happen, I'll be a bit sad. Yes. But we'll try. You can never know with these things for sure.
And this includes the new, Adzira uniques that she's dropping then, obviously, since she's kind of the queen of the Val.
Yep, Adzira uniques, Trial Master uniques, a bunch of stuff. So.
A fair few there then. Is that something that you anticipate expanding upon in the future then?
I mean, we'll be always adding more Val uniques.
Right.
So yes.
But in terms of for other cultures, that would probably come in a different form, in a different league mechanic or some other place like that.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
In terms of the overall idea of, upgrading low level uniques.
Yeah. Did you ever discuss the idea of Val's skill gems? It feels weird to add that when you're still adding regular gems.
It doesn't quite. So I mean, fundamentally, what a Val skill gem is in PoE1 is a kind of ultimate type style ability in some sense, So it's we're kind of doing that in our normal gems at this point. So it didn't really quite make sense to do it here.
It's the glory on the skills.
Glory kind of
Yeah, that's what I figured. That it's kind of you'd only be really doing it for nostalgia value at this point, I think.
Now that isn't to say there won't be something in the future, but I agree that doing something like that when you haven't even got all the classes and skills in place and all that. I would say that's a post-release feature, not a pre-release feature kind of thing.
Yeah. And are you still kind of with challenge leagues planning on having things like challenges, challenge rewards, etc. Post-launch?
So the plan for that was post-launch. It basically was kind of during early access. It doesn't quite make sense to do that. But post-launch we'll return to that again.
All right, shifting onto the topic of endgame, but first, just a brief detour. Trial of the Ancestors, or the mystery content in the new acts, and our third means of ascending. What's the progress like?
Well, we don't have anything to say at the moment, but it'll need to come obviously at some point. But we didn't have time in this one certainly to work on that.
It keeps coming up. It is really just a matter of when. At what cost, etc. The classic, just resource distribution kind of things where it's when are we going to do it and what, instead of this, and we have all these different ideas, and so but right now, nothing.
All right. So on Endgame, firstly, thanks
we don't want to talk about
that. Delirium Fog. Yeah. You saw the memes, I guess.
For sure.
So I've been enjoying all the foggy memes everywhere. That's good. Visibility improvement for the Endgame, but not only that, you guys didn't just tone down the fog. You've done some pretty major things with the Waystone system.
I mean, the very first question, and before we even toned down the fog, the first question was, okay, well, why do you feel like you have to run every map this way in the first place, right? The fact that something feels mandatory is already a problem, regardless of the fact that the effect is also
juicing
annoying.
Is OP.
So that was the first thing to solve, and it really then started coming into, okay, well, how people are finding Waystone crafting more annoying, and we only made it more annoying in Abyss with the having to go somewhere else and get it, it just made it not particularly great. So the first question is, well, how can we fix this problem, right? And effectively we were kind of we can go 2 ways with this. We can either make it so that every league has something that feels mandatory that multiplies with rewards, or we can say no leagues do, in which case it's more about which league do you want to run for different for various different content that they can provide. So we decided to
getting
go with
closer
no leagues
to just Alkin Go, baby. That's the way I like it. I know a lot of people disagree, but
to craft and do something with it just would have been a pain. Which is why
craft me up 3 tablets and go run 10 maps. Let's go.
They will get regular. They'll have the regular crafting, just regular base currency.
That's gonna be Arbiter.
Going to add to
and not be trash.
I
haven't fought Arbiter much.
Requires you to do more crafting than that. Another layer of that, because I think that having to do that every map is too frequent. Doing it on the tablets means that it's just way less frequent that you have to do these things, which helps a lot. And then, of course, the question was, well, how can we make sure that we're not doing a nerf to overall juicing potential here? So then we had to look into, how can we get back the, the power you had? So that's when we got into the extra mods on tablets and things like that, in order to sort that out.
Now, obviously, you were hoping to do more endgame for this expansion. So what's kind of happened with the
Well, I guess the sort of two things that we see as like the major problems in endgame. One of them is when you get there, it can feel like you don't really have a proper goal. Like you don't have an immediate like, okay, here's a quest to do this and a quest to do that and that kind of stuff. So there's like a little bit of that missing, and that really is a content thing that just requires us to expand upon what a league is. Now, something like something like Fate of the Vaal, it immediately has story stuff to do and so on. So when that goes to endgame later, you'll have like storyline things sort of built in a way that can like make it so you've got that. But the other leagues don't have that as much, so we need to really make sure we're expanding on those. But the other thing as well is the Atlas tree just needs a lot more love and attention and like the way that it works and all that sort of stuff. So we just need to do a lot more there.
I opened that tree yesterday and I was like, oh, this sucks.
It's a little tragic.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
oh
but the
my.
thing is that in order to make it good, you have to spend a lot of time and attention making new notables that are cool, that require like actually modify things in cool ways and like actually really meaningfully do something. And that's just a lot of time and work to do that. So,
Do you have an idea for what you want to do with the ascendancy tree side of things? Like, is it kind of angling more towards what you've done in Public League, which has been pretty successful?
Well, I don't think we should be talking about that yet. Just because, that'll
Sure.
be it's more for later. But yeah, I mean, we've got
They just started talking about the path of the Atlas tree. And Mark said he opened it the other day. He's just like, oh,
we're
this
obviously
sucks.
spoiling the fact we are doing something. And I'll tell you, it's not even. It's not the same. It's not similar.
Yeah.
It's like, it's in a whole different universe. So it's kind of like, which makes it a little bit hard because obviously we're in this state where we want feedback about the end game.
Yeah, it's
and
tricky.
so I do want to put, like, people should keep giving feedback because I don't want people to think, they're reworking it in game anyway, so I'm not going to say anything, just in case. You never know.
There's
and we
also
also
different parts of the end game that kind of are like independent of the, just things like how the Atlas tree works.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But yes, that tree is effectively going to be completely reinvented. So that will get a full drastic change. And then the something that like PoE1 with the whole complete your Atlas being a very clear, very obvious goal. Right. You just complete all the maps and you get your Atlas is complete. And then there's heaps more beyond that, of course. There's all the boss farming and all the different progressions and even that has like multiple quests throughout the main quest line with the different pinnacles and all that. We just don't have any of that really. It's just immediately into this infinite unguided adventure. And there's a little bit of things with the corrupted zones and bit of that and like, the burning monolith but it's still mostly unguided. You don't really feel like you have like, I've completed the main thing, now I'm going to farm, at the moment. It's pretty unsatisfying, I'd say. So really trying to drive that home. And then the other thing that honestly we spoke about upgrading the leagues and adding more bosses.
Druid looks
is
good,
like,
Mega.
That whole like having King in the Mists and Olroth as the pinnacle bosses of the leagues, just being like copy pastes from PoE1 was not our end goal. You know what I mean?
God,
like they're a bit sad as pinnacles right now, and like honestly need to be. We need to up the epic, a lot. So we've got a lot of that coming, and then just general upgrades to all the leagues. Like some of them are too. Ritual has the whole omens are too good, and others are just like, well, why would I do this? And there's a bit of that going on. So just a general balance, and via adding more content and different axes and all kinds of stuff. So there's heaps coming. But based on all that, to answer the original, is that's how you can see how it didn't make the cut, because it is a ton of work. It turned out to be way more than we had anticipated, and it was just like, oh. Damn, we kind of talked about wanting to do an in-game upgrade, a big revamp in 040, and now we've got too much work, and we still believe it's the right thing to do, so we're going to commit. And normally we often get faced with the option, do we cut it down to make it fit, or do we commit to it all and do it? And I don't think in this case we could have cut anything without kind of just honestly making it look half-assed, to be honest. So... we were like, no, we need to do it all, which means, unfortunately, yes, it's not going to make 040. But then we were like, well, we can't just now do nothing. So what can we do? Well, obviously, we're not just going to be like, because we're doing an 050, we'll just leave the fog alone.
Yeah.
Obviously bad, which was a bug, by the way.
Really?
All fogs, like the volumetric fogs in the game, have a cutout around the player that like cuts out and then tapers off. And all fogs in the games, there's multiple different fogs,
Oh, it's way
had it
juicier, never mind.
except for Delirium Fog. It was the
Spoilers.
only fog that didn't have this. So
Jeez.
that was, well, like, we can start there by
Yeah.
re-adding it. And,
Stream
and then
yourself watching it.
we'll iterate until we feel like it's about right. But yeah. Kind of
you're
sad
gonna
when you
watch
look
it right
into
now.
these things and you're like, oh, damn, it was just broken the whole time. But either way, like, you know, a player doesn't know if it's broken or just intended. So obviously, fixing it is the important thing. But yeah, I know there's that guy on Reddit doing a post every day, and
They can finally rest.
your thank you for your service.
Your watch is complete. Yes, we can actually see the ground. It was just hilarious in some maps, whereas like they have holes in the ground, and like there's so much fog you actually can't tell where the holes are. It's like I can't move anywhere. It looked a lot better from the footage, so it's a big improvement for sure. So you mentioned that, but there was also another kind of key change that you wanted to make sure to get in this one, and that was the kind of like monster density getting swarmed issue.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one because so when we were doing 031, this was actually already a thing that we were tabling and talking about. We kind of thought that players probably wouldn't like it because the like monster density can be a very touchy thing, right? But the funny thing is what we found was that even after we what we actually sort of heard more was like, oh, we actually liked what the improvements were early in game, and we actually would wish that the rest of the in game was more like that. And we're like, okay, well, if that's the case, then like the main thing we have to do is not like nerf rewards, make sure that experience gain doesn't get lowered or anything like that.
Totem Druid?
But overall, we don't necessarily need as many monsters as what we were having in the top. And I think this is actually going to also just generally improve things because it makes when monsters have more life like that, it makes more builds viable. And because like there's obviously a point where like once you can one hit everything,
Here it comes.
then there's no point in
that's
like you
not
might as well
a
just go for
bear.
whatever the fastest way to do that is, right?
Yeah, the lightning speed.
Right. So effectively, by making it so that monster life's a little bit higher as you get up there, it sort of actually means that like higher damage builds become more useful.
The need for having
cool.
to target so many enemies goes down.
Exactly,
and thus
right?
You aren't just now funneled into the highest AoE thing possible.
So it means that like things that are less AoE focused and more like, I mean, obviously you're still going to want AoE, you're still going to want to be clearing like that sort of stuff, of course. But like effectively, just by tweaking it down a bit, you just don't have the like so much need for everything to target quite so many things. And so the sort of higher damage skills that are a bit less like not like more than a screen in size can actually be viable. And that should hopefully improve the situation there.
I want to make sure that even if people are like, but I prefer the swarminess, and it was fun for my build. And the thing is, like, that, speaking of, like, Atlas Tree, that's a thing where the Atlas Tree should be the thing thing that you can, it's like your build can do that. So, like, I want to make sure, like, for now, not doing it, but I wanted to do a thing, because we're doing this whole, like, monster effectiveness goes up more, right? I mean, it's a pretty hard thing to understand because monsters just get stronger with higher levels, so like it kind of just happens. You don't really, it's not like a thing you need to worry about or anything of the sort. But I want to do a thing where you can spec into making, like on the Atlas Tree, I guess this is a little bit of a forward spoiler, but we're adding a little bit of it in a few places, but I want to make sure that you can invest into making monsters tougher without increasing the number of monsters, where like often it's just been pack size, and stuff like that. So but then I would love to do a thing later where like you can convert that effectiveness increases you can get into like pack size. So it's like, you know what? Nah, I want the swarmy, weaker
That's
monsters.
cool. I like the
thing.
idea of being able to change it.
But I don't want one to. At that point, you can make sure the conversion results in the exact same amount of drops, and XP and all of that stuff.
That way you can incentivize. Well, you don't incentivize one or the other, right? Like it's more about what your build is, what you'd prefer, rather than being like everyone has to have most pack sizes possible.
Whereas right now, pack size is just a straight up multiplicative drops XP scale. I mean, obviously not for rares and bosses, but it is, and for a lot of people, it's a multiplicative fun scaler. Right. And I don't want to take that away. Like I want people to be able to do that, but that's what the Atlas Tree should be able to achieve. However, it is too chaotic at a base level.
Right.
You get this weird thing where it's like the campaign has a entirely different vibe to the end of the end game now, where it's like you step into the end game, it's kind of and then you get towards the end. I mean, at the start, for people who didn't play 031 onwards, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm going through the campaign. It feels a bit more tactical. Feels a bit more, intention. My actions are more intentional. And then I get into endgame, I'm like, what the heck is going on? There's monsters everywhere. It's out of control. And so obviously 031 alleviated this a bit, but I don't want it to be that there's this feeling of there's two games there. I want it to be that
you can socket the war cries from the
build
warrior class,
that extra layer that you change it through your Atlas tree and through decisions
and then you
make
gain
for
the
the in-game,
effect
as opposed
of
to it just
those
being
war
inherent.
cries
So
instead
if you
of
want
what
to,
it
we're going to
normally
make sure
does.
that we try and keep it that if you want to make it more swarmy and that kind of stuff, you can, but it doesn't give you a drop advantage necessarily over the tougher monsters. There are reasons to do both. That's fine. There'll be heaps of mechanics and stuff, but
I mean, that's going to be the build right there.
ideally, you can kind of play the game you want to play the game. So in our tree and our
Oh
build,
my
actually
God.
play the character how you want to play your character. We can do that.
And then
with the
it
in-game
takes
as
it a
well.
step further
And
in a
that's
second.
The beauty of the Atlas tree, and the keystones and stuff like that. So
He gets firestorms while doing
but
crazy
it's hard to
charge.
get into more of that without
Okay,
getting into
see,
like
this
kind of
look-
spoiler
yeah,
territory.
that's,
but yeah.
that's interesting to hear
And
that
that
you want to
already
kind of
looks really good.
make
Yeah,
things
no,
a bit
so
less
they
binary,
said
like,
they
in the
wanted to
past,
slow it
it
down
has
so
been
you
the
could
case
see
where it's
how
just
the
like,
skills
you just stack a bunch
function.
of all of the things you can
And
stack,
they
or
said
it's
they kind of
just
made a
stack as much
mistake in that
personnel
because
or
it
as
made the
much variety
druid
as
seem
you can,
weak.
but maybe having
But they
angles
just
to
wanted
both
you
of
to be able to,
those
like,
things, I'm
if
just
it was
reducing
going like
plateaus or
full
reducing
build speed,
difficulty and
you wouldn't know what the
variety.
fuck's going on.
I mean, that's exciting to me.
Like
'cause
you
I
wouldn't be
like
able to see
ability
the
of
individual
being able to spec
skills and
content
stuff.
that
Like
rewards your character
so
that
they
has
dumbed
no
it
end.
down
It's, like,
for the
really good, like,
demonstration.
dueling
This
and
isn't
really
the
tough
real
rounds.
numbers that they
So,
do and
we did
stuff.
get to see a little bit of that in Imperial 1 where there was
They said they're
different
probably going to
strategies
release like an
for
actual
using
gameplay
where,
video
like,
because
you
the
had mechanics
werewolf
for
looks
it,
really
and that was
shit, but
making,
people are
like,
saying it's
really strong
insanely
rogue
OP
exiles,
that
and
are playing
took
the
a
alpha.
specific sort of build to do. So
Gotcha.
it sounds like that's kind of the direction you want to head with that, which is pretty exciting to hear. And kind of tying into this topic then, and you touched on it a little bit, was like there's definitely been like it's been noticed that rare monsters seem to drop the vast majority of loot in endgame maps, or at least compared to normal and magic.
That was a good
monsters.
question
There's
from Ziggy.
a bigger difference, I guess, than has been the case in the past. And where are you guys at with like noticing or feeling that, or what problems do you foresee with that? It gets talked about a lot.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong that it's like that. One of the things we really want to try to make sure of in PoE2 when we're sort of doing a sort of from scratch pass on this is that the amount of rewardingness of something is equivalent to the amount of difficulty that it takes to kill it. And that's kind of where, like we're trying to normalize that because by doing that, it means that we can try to get we don't want a situation where like some content just is randomly just way more rewarding than other content, and so we're trying to just make sure that we're keeping tabs on that really well. And what that's kind of ended up with regard to the magic versus rare is we've got the balance of that where it should in an ideal world be the case that killing a rare versus killing a white monster is does in fact drop the correct amount of rewards relative to each other. Now the issue can come with the fact is what if your build can one hit either of them in any case.
Yeah,
so that kind of like changes. I
they
guess,
said they almost thought it was going to be
feels a little bit.
impossible
So,
to get these forms to
but
work
it
well,
is-
especially
it
the
should be case that
wyvern
rares drop more than
walking
white
like on all
monsters.
fours
Just
with his
drop
big
in
wings
still,
and
so,
stuff.
yeah, there's
It
the
does.
balance
It
there.
does.
They said
make
it, they
a
thought it
certain
was going to be
amount of sense,
impossible.
but I guess like with what you were talking about, Mark, it seems like something you'll have to think about because like if you want both strategies to be viable, like the pack size juicing, then there needs to be a reward, a payoff to that ultimately.
100%.
So that's something you'll be looking at then.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, it really is the case that if you looked at entirely just around the life of the entity, the drops should be pretty equivalent to the amount of life that they had to in order to kill them, as far as relative to each other. So if it's got 5 times as much life, it does 5 times as many more drops effectively. Like that's kind of what we're shooting for when we're trying to balance this stuff.
Yeah, I think with the balance of how things are and the options we have now, it probably makes
Yeah,
sense.
you can
but
thread
it's something we'll be
between-
keeping close eye on
between
moving
human
forward.
form or whatever
There's
forms
a bit of a
and
parallel with one of the
like mix
kind
and
of issues
match.
I see in Path of Exile 1 where like everything is in reward icons, little floating symbols, and that seems like something you're trying to avoid moving forward.
We haven't really been doing that for a little while now. There was certainly a period there in PoE1 design where it was like every single league was just like those reward icon type things, and it ended up really beiging the rewards a lot because you just had this thing of like every league drops, every other league's drops, and it kind of didn't really it wasn't really that great. So it's going to be a little while since we've done that stuff in PoE1 even, and in PoE2 we kind of steer away from it to make sure that everything feels like it's got distinct drops and a reason to do it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it appears in some regards. Like, for example, when you get the reward rooms in Fate of the Vow, you have a unique item room.
Sure.
Yep. But it's not just like a floating symbol above the monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Which also, immersively, I don't know what the heck that is, but
Oh, nice.
what is it? Is some It's just nothing. It's a clear and just obvious game
I
mechanic.
see some like floating, glowing cash money dollar bills above your head. Guys loaded.
This
Don't kill me. Don't
looks like
kill
it's gonna
me.
be good.
You can't have my loot.
Also, keep in mind you can spawn
I
more
just
than one of
remembered
those.
you
They only
spoke
do
about
one in the
Red Monsters, and I was like,
video.
hold on, did we?
But
I don't think
in
we
the
deployed
Q&A,
or
they
spoke about
talked
this
about
change, but
people doing
I know that
busted
taking
builds where
away
you
all the
spawn like
random,
6 of those
minimap
volcanoes
icons was,
and then fire off like those spells and trigger them
a
all
bit
to do more
anger-inducing.
projectiles and shit.
Because honestly, we knew it. We knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
Now, they aren't a requirement of the map, but as you're saying, they kind of drop a lot of the loot, and people were just doing the whole mini-map, coasting between mini-map icons. The middle ground we've come to here, which I think is quite cool, is once you've activated all the checkpoints in the map, which sometimes is 4, 2, you know, the things for fast traveling and respawning, then all of the things
Appear on the minimap.
appear on the minimap.
You know, the funny thing is I thought we already deployed that.
I don't think we have.
Okay, right.
That's what I was just remembering. I was like,
We intended to deploy that back when people were complaining about it, and I feel like maybe we just kind of forgot.
Nice.
But
so
that
you
was
just
implemented a while
play your
ago.
map. You generally find the checkpoints. If you're in a straight line map, there's one at the start, one at the end.
The whole like
How the heck are you
rain
missing res?
buffing the vines
Anyway,
and
I don't
shit.
know,
Is
but
that what
it
you're
can
talking
happen.
about?
But it doesn't just reveal the res; it reveals everything. Not every icon. So strongboxes you missed, rogue exiles you missed.
Okay.
Just so basically you can find if there's any content that you still wanted to grab.
Now some
That's
people
cool.
might argue, hold on, I'm just going to run around the entire map activating them all.
In the
and then
Q&A,
go play
they
them.
just
Okay,
said
if
when
wanna
you
waste time.
activate the final, when you activate all the
it's kind of just meant to be a like, look,
quick travel points
you've
in a map.
explored at least
Once you get the final one, it then shows all the content you missed on the map.
4 checkpoints. You activate all
So
4.
any
You've at
strong
least explored
boxes, rogue
probably
exiles,
75% of the map, right?
anything that you missed,
yeah.
it'll pop up.
So-
last things and
And
So
then
if there's like anything else you want to like go back for, you can. If
But then you
not,
can also
you can
use
just
the
leave.
checkpoints to get to the closest place where the stuff you missed was, which is kind of nice. So yeah, it kind of helps with that. So
Now-
we did finally find a solution. To
I'm
kind of get
hoping
to
this
the-
is a good middle ground.
Yeah.
Because yes, then at least you've done 75% of the map, probably without just doing blind mini-map gameplay. And then from that point on, it's like, look, yeah, I get it. You probably missed something. You know where it is now. It should actually maybe overall be even more helpful because it's not just revealing the rares. It's going to reveal even more.
Spreading
so
the
you'll know
ignites
about
through wing
everything else you
skills with that
missed.
support
So
gem seems
we'll
like
see
it's
how it goes.
wind skills.
But
Seems
yeah,
like it's
I
gonna be
understand
pretty
that
good
was
too.
a bit
Like
of
that monk one.
aggravation for a lot of people.
I could see like a monk
but,
ignite
that's a
build,
perfect
just
example
getting
of,
like
again,
a big ignite and then doing like the
That's why I
wind
don't want
skills
people to
to
not
blow
get
it all
feedback
around.
because like this kind of stuff still should be fixed pretty imminently. And so yeah, it's
It's a good case study because I'm honestly surprised that you did do that because this seemed like I loved the rare
Tornado
icons.
sucking
Like,
up the
I was
elements
definitely
too,
victim of
becoming
the,
a fire
I'm only
tornado is
looking at
cool.
minimap now, so it kind of seemed like a change for our own good.
The support gem
situation,
making a
but
firestorm
what
move
you're
with
doing
you.
this is a
here-
good middle ground.
Yeah, it seems like it's saving the players that feel like that they're FOMOing because like, oh, I know I missed like a league mechanic in the map somewhere after this. Like that is really bumming me out. And then they have to go and crawl back through everything and waste a bunch of time. So that's just kind of saving them that.
Oh, that's cool.
Sounds like a good compromise change then. Nice little extra bonus reveal there. Good stuff.
Good. Yeah, you just said rare monsters, and I just had this random like.
Good.
Wait,
What more
did
words
we
can I
just-
say?
Probably should have put that in the live stream if we hadn't deployed it yet. But
I don't know
yeah.
exactly what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have it.
yeah.
I have it
stuff.
muted, but I know
We
exactly
shall
what
move
he
on
said
to
there.
kind of gear
Yeah,
passives.
that's
And this
disappearing.
is in the topic of balance and character power, and this sort of stuff has been talked about a fair bit. Something that's mentioned a lot is that the ratio of player power that comes from gear versus what comes from ascendancy and passives is much more tilted towards gear than in Path of Exile 1. And so kind of like roughly for an example, like the average PoE2 passive is like 10%, whereas the PoE1 passive is 16%, whereas the amounts on gears are pretty similar. So like the 100% increased fire damage on a wand is consistent as tier 1 affix between both games, meaning that like more of the power has kind of been shifted away from
Shaman
the
looks
tree, the
really
thing that you
fucking
get by
good.
default, to gear. So this seems like a conscious decision to make gear more powerful. Is there something like you've thought about or made like specific strides towards?
Probably the main thing that we wanted to do in PoE2 was make it so that the tree.
You'll
is
see
more-
when they mouse over the
Apparently more
runes.
stringent about how the tree
Runes
is
are just more
multiplicative of what
powerful
your
if
gear
you're a
does.
shaman.
That does make gear
The things
more
you sock
important.
in your
I
gear.
wouldn't say there's necessarily been a thing
Right
of like
there, you
necessarily
see
wanting
bonded at
the
the
amount of
bottom.
power overall that you
You just
get
get
one or
extra
the other is
stats.
more unbalanced, but it's just making sure that like when you are using the tree, that it's specializing your
get both of
character
these?
more
You get
like
the
towards
18%
what the
physical
bonuses
damage
that your
and
gear is giving you to kind of
14%
make the
increased?
two things together.
Yeah.
Effectively
Like being sort of
broken.
important to be thinking about both.
And then shamans
So
get
that was kind of
even
our
more
primary
with
goal,
that.
but I don't know if you've got a different feeling about any of that.
Well, shamans
certainly
get.
wasn't-
It depends on what you're
Like
using.
the passive tree being
So if you're
weaker,
using a
like,
martial
I guess we
weapon-
didn't really even think
Okay,
about it in the
okay.
point of comparison. We just kind of like went back then. We went really back to the basics and evaluating a lot of our base balance.
If you use a martial weapon, you
And,
get increased fizz damage and you get increased
so it wasn't
effective
like
fully broken
let's
armor.
nerf it
I
compared
was
to
thinking
PoE1. It was
everyone
more just
could
like
get
a
bonded, and
what do
then
we want
shamans
gear to
got
do?
a
What do we want the
better
passive tree to
version.
do?
No,
What do we
only
want? And
shamans
all of
get
at
that
the end of the
bonded
day is just
section.
relative to then how do we want the
gotcha.
monsters to scale and how do
Yeah.
which they're all different, right? The way that the monster scale per level isn't the same. The way that the tree and thus the tree benefits are different. The gear is different.
looks
and,
good
yeah,
too.
everything.
Just
so
fucking
again, not really
random
it
elemental
was conscious
blasts all over the
decisions, but
place.
not conscious decisions to like nerf from PoE1 or anything of that sort. That being said,
This
yes,
is
I mean
insane.
I don't.
Like it looks
Couple other
dull
things
at
that we
first,
made, for
but
example,
then
the
there's one
decision
note they
that,
show
we
that's like,
wanted
what the fuck?
Class starts on the tree to be weaker than the exterior. So
Yeah.
generally the nodes are meant to go up a little bit in power as you get further away, so you don't just get the like class hopping kind of thing that
Wait, what you see?
historically
What?
occurred in PoE1
Yeah,
quite
where
a
the
bit.
class starts were stronger than.
You know,
It
you
like
get the
creates like an
the M on
echo
the top
of
and
you.
stuff like
I
that. And
think
so
you see the
that
little
was a
ghost that
decision
fires
we
off
made.
abilities.
Okay, so you set the match.
But yeah, I mean, I guess
play
we
like
did
a
kind of
Simon
have like we
Says kinda
want
thing.
gear to be more important, especially base gear. I think we maybe
This is
overcooked
cool
it a little
too.
bit right now, but
Yeah, okay.
just a little bit with more the ease of it, the ease of getting it. But that's a whole crafting discussion, I guess.
Talk about that too.
Sorry guys, I'm half and half. My friend's watching
but
the
yeah,
reveal
no,
and we're
I
talking
would
about
say-
it while also listening
I mean,
to
I'm
the.
personally pretty
the
happy,
Q&A.
honestly, with how it is.
Just that like ratio of importance of gear compared to passive. I guess like it's a question of how much power do you get for free, right? Like ultimately
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to is like if my gear is if I'm wearing all white gear, like how powerful is my character
Right.
from just the tree? And that's like a little bit lower, I think, in PoE2.
And the reason
that
for that-
bothers some people, I guess.
The reason for that specifically is because the tree is more multiplicative than it was in PoE1, where there was more just base stuff,
right.
there. I mean, you can look at it even in simple things like, just life on the tree, for example, right? Like that's sort of another example of part of the thinking there is like, like the more base stuff is available on the tree, the more the same characters can be because they can just allocate the same stuff and get the same stuff without having to worry about the items. So yeah, that's kind of just
Obviously,
one of
that's
the things.
not entirely base
Entirely,
in PoE1,
no,
but
but
because
yeah.
you have base life,
Yeah,
technically,
yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of is,
I get what you
as
mean.
in life without gear.
Yeah. And where are you at on the life thing? Just like since you brought it up, I guess like still pretty happy with the decision to like remove that from the tree.
I mean, look, we just wanted to. We just didn't. It's more that decision's mostly about not wanting every character just another one of those cases of every character being the same.
Yeah.
Like it's like we'd rather you specialized in the defense that relates to your character rather than just the same stat that every character should
What happens
use.
if you
So
do that in
yeah,
your-
we'll just
your-
have that
your
general
future
feeling.
I mean,
self?
we've
You only have,
obviously
like,
still got imbalance
skill.
here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's obviously still work to
I don't
do.
know.
Yeah.
Does it
Never
always
ending.
pop up that skill, or does it do
Maybe.
any skill like a
So,
venom,
like,
you
the
just
tree
can't
will just
benefit
continue
from
to
it?
evolve. And, like, we added a lot of passives
I
at
don't
some
know.
point. They're a lot more powerful, and we intend to keep doing it. And now we've obviously just added all the druid ones. But not just that. Like, we added more, like, ignite support on around the mercenary, for example, this
Shit.
time, like, as in 040. We're
This
doing
one.
that. And then there's some changes to, like, some prod speedy stuff. Because, like, we were, like...
More passives.
looking at shotguns and trying to see
Oh my God.
well, how can we have them scale? And it's like, well, it turns out if you get a bunch of piercing with prod speed and some other stuff, like you can shoot them across the screen.
Oh
And so
my
like,
God, that's
well,
a
how do you
lot.
get that?
Yeah,
Or it's not-
130,
so we're doing
I
a
think
bunch
they
of like
said.
little
It's like-
increments like that,
it's like
just based on
full-
what builds need.
Like this one up
I know
here is gonna
bleed
link.
needs a bit more love in the bottom right, and
Like there's no little,
so
easy
to
path
make it not
between
just
these,
entirely all
where you get
blood
this to
mage
go between.
spear
You need that.
users and that kind of thing
That might
going
even
on.
open
So
up, like, new
again,
routes.
it's gonna just honestly we'll just do more and more and more and more and more on the tree. I suspect you'll get more. I'm not saying I'm going to increase the value of every node, but just by the nature of how many
They also
more
just
things you
increase.
can
So on
invest in
top
and
of Oracle,
multiplicative
they also
elements, you're
increase the
probably
amount of
gonna end up with a
passives
lot
on the
more
tree
power
by
coming
like
from the tree
250 or
than what you do
something.
right now.
And then Oracle
but
added another
I actually
130.
prefer it doing it that way than just increasing all the numbers anyway. Because at the end of the day, if we then increase all the numbers and then it turns out the game is like too easy, well, then you have to nerf something somewhere or just buff monsters, and then you kind of end up in
Back to square
kind of
one.
the same place. So it's like, what did you actually achieve?
So with the like approach to life then, which I feel like makes sense, like not wanting the trees to like look the same and whatnot, How do you feel about, like, why does ES kind of get a separate treatment when it ultimately, although it's a defense like evasion and armor, it functions much better with life? Because there's a lot of ES scaling, and ES numbers are pretty high compared to life, and definitely
Yo,
that's a current balance issue for sure, but like, you know, just because it happens to function more similar to life, they're all at the end of the day a form of effective HP, right? So, I mean, they just, as long as they're not entirely symmetric, which is what makes them interesting, which is why one works this way and the others work a different way. And but yeah, I mean, there's clearly a misbalance. I mean, you got
it's for using things like banners
being a bit hectic and
stuff. Maybe other stuff involved in Druid too. Who knows? We don't know all the abilities. But yeah, you get to do that skill and then stomp on it.
There's changes to be done here. There's a few changes coming. But we're at the point where I still look at it and I'm like, I'm pretty sure ES is still going to be pretty crazy.
Boring.
That being said, it's like, you know, I don't want to make any last minute kind of knee-jerk reaction nerf kind of things around this. So like, because we've changed and rebalanced so much, it's really hard to know, and even changes to how the monsters scale and whatnot, it's kind of hard to know exactly how things are going to play out. So it's this kind of thing where I'm like at the point again where I'm like, all right, let's get all these changes out, see how the metas evolve, see what's good, see what's bad, and then like reevaluate it again. So ES is worse,
is like that,
but I don't think it's.
I guess it's Val.
Honestly, I don't think it's.
Yeah, it's Alva. It's the temple stuff from PoE.
But we'll see.
One just revamped
in the right direction, perhaps. But I know in the past when we talked about this, we discussed around the idea of like letting energy shield values be high.
It looks really good.
Really focusing on the recovery side of things and making that like you just said, like making things not homogenous, making things different. Like life's really easy to recover, but energy shield's much harder to recover. Like you still kind of.
That is still the intention, yes. That is still the intention.
I like that.
It's just really easy for all of a sudden some cool design to come out, and then all of a sudden it's just a completely trampled recharge.
Okay, lady.
Yes. And then it's just like, well, now why do I care, you know? And I mean, like, it's okay sometimes if it's like via an insanely, like, I mean, Essentia Sanguis is a perfect example of doing this, right? Like, it just straight up ES leech. And the thing is, like, I don't want to take that away. I just, you know, there's a level of...
I said the same thing on that part.
There's some balance to do and or commonality to do. Like, if that's a thing you strive for and can eventually achieve, and now your character's like freaking god tier, that's exactly what like high-end unique items should do. So in this case, you know, I know we're making that item rarer. Hopefully that doesn't affect the economy too much with some me giving that away. But on standard, sorry. But at the end of the day, I would rather do that than just gutting it. You know what I mean? In this case. But yes, those things are allowed to break the rule. But I very much want to push ES to be recharge based. And as I said, historically, it's again, you just come up with a bunch of uniques and want to do all this cool stuff. And all of a sudden, we've added in another way to completely... not care about recharge, and you're getting ES back some other way. So, and that happened, and more and more and more of that came about, and all of a sudden now, you pretty much just got this insane life pool that's permanently full, and it's like, wow, why would you not do this? Obviously, you'd do this. So,
I imagine there's a lot of incomplete picture going on here as well, where you're still missing classes and archetypes and skills and parts of the passive tree and thing as well. It probably makes it hard to like commit too hard to certain areas of balance when it's such an incomplete picture.
Yes, and it's also just honestly a time issue. We're adding all this new stuff while having to also correct all the existing stuff, and then the new stuff is like, how fast can the new stuff break the existing stuff, and how fast can we then fix that? And it's you know, when I say break, I mean balance break. You know, it's to the point where it's like all these new variables are being added as we're trying to fix all the existing variables and balance them, and these new variables are like, you know, it can be hard, like real difficult. When you're at the point where you're not adding so much new stuff, you can just catch up, get to a point of stability, and for sure it's there. But like, we have expanded, like I've got 3 new people, I don't know if new, I've kind of taken a few people that were more balance oriented out of our QA. I mean, some of our QA people are kind of elite, You know,
Yeah, the whole like
I don't know
upgrading
if I
the
should say who
rooms
they
and
are, but
putting
some
in
of
like the
them are,
generators to power
top
up the
hardcore
mobs and
ladders
stuff.
top
Cool.
ladders and stuff. And I'm like, well,
Cool.
look, they do know what's going on. I'm like trying to teach them the philosophies and how to do all this stuff. And so I've got 3 new people doing that. So hopefully, and historically we've had quite a limited number of people actually doing balance. It's quite hard. It's actually one of the harder
That's
things
cool. So
to
you're slowly building it out.
have a good feel for. And if you put the wrong person in
And
that
each time you
position,
run it, it like degrades a
knows
little
where
bit,
you
but
end
you
up.
get more
So it's
rooms
really
than what
important,
degrades.
to make sure that
Yeah.
obviously these people
So you
understand
gotta kind of like
philosophy
patch
and
what
trained
broke a little
well,
bit
and,
if you
know,
like
you're
had
being cautious
upgrade
with it. But yeah,
rooms
we've
and
got
shit
3
in
new
certain
people
ways,
with that,
or
so
generators in certain
much
spots.
larger team
but
in the future. So I'm hoping we can
yeah, it looks pretty
tackle a
cool.
lot more, and we're not just going to be up to like
Something
what,
they
one or
don't
2
say
of us.
here, but
I
they
mean,
said in the
historically, it's
Q&A
been pretty much me and
is
Andrew. and that's it.
every
You've
6
got your elite
maps
squad. You're building your
essentially
elite squad
is
of
when you have like a temple
balance
you could
ninjas
run,
now.
but you can store up
Pretty
10
much, yeah.
runs.
And,
Energy shield.
So it's every
I mean, if we end
60
up with, like,
runs you
5
could
of us,
do
there's
a bunch of
very,
temple
considering I also have to
rather than every 6
do
maps.
the leagues and the end game and the monsters and the bosses and oversee all of that. It's pretty hard to also be able to find a lot of time to sit there with the spreadsheets and with the game and going, what does this build do? What can it do? So getting more people there is going to be a game changer for the future in terms of, you know, what we're able to actually balance, and we probably will be able to do a new class and keep the game up to date in a much better way and keep iterating on this, because we've got a lot more work to do. Like, I don't want people to ever think that we're just like going to stop with this stuff. I mean, PoE1 hasn't stopped after forever, and often you want to keep metas fresh. You want to update. You want to make new. You want to. There's always you make bad things good, good things bad. Well, you know, bring them in. Not, you know, whatever.
You want to make good things bad, quotable time.
Yeah, I was like, maybe not that. But the, you know, it's been a pretty tight resource the whole time, and yeah, having more of that is going to honestly be a game changer. So I'm very keen to see how that's going to play out, you know, especially over the next few expansions, and see where that goes and what it allows us to do, and have less of that picking our battles, and let's fight more battles, you know.
What?
It's fine, which, yeah, should be cool.
Cool. On the gear power level side of things, plus to all skills has been talked about a lot. And even you guys have mentioned in the past, like it exacerbated things like mana issues that people were having. It's obviously very powerful and available in very high quantities.
50% chance to just delete your
I
item,
think
though.
it exacerbates other issues like uniques being less viable because they don't have them,
but
for
that's
example.
a 50% chance
And
to
it
have
does
a
seem to be
super
of a
item.
power level that's like overriding other aspects
It's not
of
how
gearing.
it
Like
works,
it
but that's
becomes
how my brain
a
works.
make or break stat in many cases. Where are you guys at with feeling on the plus skills issue?
Well, the original theory behind it was that we wanted to make sure, like for fizz weapons, you always had this like IPD, you know, increased physical damage that was always kind of effectively mandatory stat on those weapons, and you know, it was something where like you would like you know, like you sort of had this baseline of like, you know, some kind of multiplicative way to make the weapon better, and effectively plus skills on staves and wands was supposed to kind of fill that sort of same multiplicative approach where like that was a thing that you, to make the difference between a bad spellcast weapon and a good one. That was kind of the idea, to kind of try and get that to so the items mattered more for spellcast weapons. But I think maybe like there's just kind of like, we probably need to have to look at it, but I'm sure Mark, you've got more theories about it.
I mean, we need to change something.
Right.
100%. I mean, I know this, like, you know, we obviously have the illegal mod, the old Essence of Sorcery, giving that extra +1 to focus, the +3 to focus foci, and the old homogenizing for getting the +3s on amulets. By the way, they're gone.
I expected
Goodbye,
that one.
homogenizing.
I was ready for that one.
They were illegal for other reasons.
Don't know how people are going to feel about that. I'm not sure if I should look at the chat over there and see if it's a W or an L, but whatever, they're gone. It was adding an insane amount of complexity to crafting. And, but anyway,
I particularly was I particularly was like I actually don't like crafting mechanics that cause you to have to think about mods in the exact way that they needed you to think about them. So, you know,
how do you mean?
Well, it's a bit tricky.
That
it's like a whole other
is
conversation.
the biggest thing.
But yeah, like they I don't think that that they were quite right for PoE2.
Now you don't have to have an item ready every single time you find a
started
corruption
talking
room. You
about
can just
stuff
pull it out
over-
of the
It's
currency
real
and just
easy
go
to
sell it to
pivot
someone,
start
or
listing nerfs and things you're removing for some
Yeah.
reason.
Calm down.
Sorry, but yeah, there is an issue.
Oh, this
I understand
is
it.
fucking cool,
and I
too.
understand
Wait
the
till you see
whole.
this.
I have this perfect wand, but you know, I've got triple T1 prefixes, but I don't have the gem level, so throw it on the floor. right? I mean, that's kind of generally it. It's like if it's missing that mod, it's trash, right? That's the bad feel. It's like I did everything right except for that, and it's terrible. And yeah, we were trying to create a thing where it was like similar to, well, like, how do you itemize as a attacker?
Was it just for the
and it was like, how can we have it be
No, it's
just
forever until you die.
on a caster, but kind of have the same level of complexity.
And you can do
of
all
how to
4
get,
limbs.
And in particular, that still have the same level of an item actually matters, right? Because traditionally in PoE1 you had this thing where, if you didn't want to have to worry about itemization very much, then Spellcaster was the thing you could do. And we kind of did want to still try to like have it so that items do matter on Spellcasters as well.
So why then does it seem like for a lot of people it doesn't work? Like, because IPD doesn't seem to attract ire.
Yeah, I don't fully understand that. I think the mana cost thing might be part of it for sure, the increase in the mana cost. But
I mean, I suspect at the end of the day it's because there are multiple ways to create an attack weapon that are good.
Right.
Even it's more than one way. A fizz weapon is not the only way.
Right.
Whereas a caster weapon doesn't really have that.
Like that might be it.
And that's it. It's just it's if you don't have that mod, bad. If you do have that mod, it's fine. And that's it. It doesn't matter what the rest is necessarily doing. There's not really much other choice.
Right.
And so that honestly can be enough where it's like you instead of reducing the plus gems, you could create many different options, and maybe it's still fine. Like plus gems is one way, or there's this way, or there's this way, and that way it's like, yeah, sure, there's more opportunities. But yeah, right now it's just either good or bad, very binary. And
it is quite hard to think of more multiplicative ways to improve spell damage, though. Like that was a real challenge when we were even looking into that. If I recall,
it's weird to me that like added damage on a caster gear isn't doing that more. Like maybe it's because like so much of that's already available in the game through other means or something. I don't know, like because that is effectively added flat damage in the same way that plus gems is.
Added flat damage on caster gear doesn't exist.
Extra damages, I should say.
Extra damage is there.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
added
so it's
damage
not
we
just that room
removed
that gets that
because you just ended up doing.
It's the whole temple, so you can juice your temple. Your whole temple will be harder in the end game.
I wasn't in love with damage effectiveness having to exist because I find it to be a bit confusing for people. Like I don't love that, and so I was kind of really hoping to avoid it. I did have this sort of feeling though back when we did that, of this inevitable like we're probably going to have to add it back again one day, and I'm not going to like that because like it is a very useful tool, but yeah, I think it's just I think it kind of sucks as a thing personally. I'm just not a fan of it.
The damage is extra.
That's another take on that.
I mean, that's we've done. I was just thinking of another change we've done here. So obviously, I'm pivoting a little bit, but it's still talking about caster weapons, so we'll say it's related. But in 040, we are doing a change where, even though we're not changing the plus spell so much, we are making it so that you can't essence +3 spells on the foci, which I said before, just to be clear, that is a change. But the other thing we're doing is we're taking it's the runic and glyphic equivalent of spell damage on foci for all the different damage types, and just saying they can't generate on foci now. And I think we're in the end game, we're then increasing the base energy shields a little bit. It doesn't. I know people, oh my god, you're making energy shield better. Don't worry, it makes like no real difference overall with the other changes in mind. But the idea is being that a wand and a foci should be slightly more defensively enhanced, not offensive compared to a staff. And so one thing we've done is we said all staff prefixes. So that's the damage is fire, the element damage is the types. It's the just increased specific damage, increased spell damage. What is it? Mana. I don't remember what else. The prefixes. Those are all now double wands as opposed to, I think it was 50 to 55% higher than wands, give or take. So, and then, if you want, like, it just adds more reason to want to use a staff. So the staff prefixes are double wands, whereas a wand plus foci is not giving you, well, it was pretty much giving you more damage, I actually think it was, than a staff would have been able to.
Definitely not.
So at least now staffs are going to be better. But that isn't anything to do with the gem level problem. It's still obviously its own problem. But it's again just talking about a little bit of the like overall improvements to just like finding different types of gear where it's like, well, why do I want the staff when I can have a wand and a
you
focus
actually
every
made a
time?
ton of changes to just weapons, like generally, right? Like in terms of the progressions and stuff, especially through your campaign.
Yes. When we were adding the talismans for the druid, we were like, what do we want all the in-game base types to be? What do we want the damage in the campaign? And what we then started looking into was a lot of the other weapons going, well, what were they doing? And then I was looking at things going, well, this doesn't seem right here, and this doesn't seem right there. And you get these weird things which people probably don't honestly appreciate, maybe, where it's like you're upgrading your weapons, you're going from like random examples. I don't know. I don't actually know if this is true. I'm just going to hypothetically. It's like you go from two-handed mace to 3 to two-handed mace 4. You know, you're going along the, I don't know what the actual names are. And then all of a sudden, like two-handed mace 5, it's got some implicit on it, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. But the damage is actually, the base DPS of that weapon is actually lower than the one before it. That was like 6 levels lower. And you're like, I don't know if that damage is worth the trade-off of the implicit. And so
Definitely it isn't worth it.
it isn't, yes. The valuation of the implicit damage penalty was mismatched in a lot of spots. And so you get these things where every third weapon in the campaign is just like a random DPS drop. And so we're changing all of that as much as we can, at least.
Okay.
The thing is, you might not even necessarily recognize this as a player, because generally speaking, you just like, you see a weapon that dropped and you're like, okay, what's the DPS of this compared to another one? You're not necessarily thinking about the fact that there's a new upgraded weapon type, or that's like, or that should have been higher. So what it ends up being is there's just a hole of like 20 levels go by where it's like, I can't get a weapon upgrade, and it's frustrating. And that's what it actually feels like when you actually play it. But in reality, what it was is that the weapon type that was supposed to be an upgrade is actually a downgrade. That's something that Mark immediately saw, and he was like, okay, we need to
we're
do
doing a
something
little
about
bit more. I don't know if we're going to get through all the weapons, but we're trying. Whereas like you get to end game and it's like, okay, what's your fast weapon? What's your crit weapon? What's your just standard good weapon? And then here's implicit A, implicit B, implicit C, you know. And then it's like, which one's your bonk weapon? Like, which one am I just going to bonk things with the slow, heavy hitter? And trying to just do a lot more of that and make sure there's all the in-game choices for all of these weapons, bunch of different cool implicits, changing some of them around, just reevaluating the damage of them all, just the base deep. So generally speaking, pretty much all of them going up across the board in little ways. Like, they're not, nothing make or break, but like, it's enough of a thing that as you're going through the campaign, you're not just like, where the heck are my upgrades? And also at the end game, just increasing a bit of the choices of different base weapons you could use for different builds and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, you know, it's easy to go a little bit underappreciated, but you know, it matters, like in changing the staffs and all of that stuff. It does, you know, contribute to the overall picture of just things feeling good. And you know, it's another one of these things where it's like, yeah, we just in the process of adding the druid weapons, we were like, well, let's go do the rest of this riders while we're at it. So yeah, we've still got a bit more to do there, but I don't know if that will come in this, you know, week to come, and or as opposed to afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know what druidic prowesses are.
We're just going to try and do as much as we can. So even if not all the weapon types are in the patch notes, it isn't to say we aren't going to do the rest of them before the end of next week, because it doesn't take too long to do them. But you know, at the same time, you don't want to rush it and mess it up. So yeah, I don't know, just a random thing.
I think people are increasingly souring on rarity and gear, especially now that it affects currency drops, and which makes it feel very mandatory, right? Because like, what do we play for? Currency, obviously.
Well, don't you worry. We've had our you know, every 3 months discussion of talking about rarity and what we're going to do with it.
Well, I think we nerfed it again, didn't we?
We did a little bit. We cut off some of the top tier mods, so just the overall amount of it is lower. It's a stopgap. I don't quite know. We haven't come to an exact decision, but like, it is true that it feels like every change we're making at this point
I'm
is
like
getting
almost definitely buying it.
Closer to just
Definitely.
I will get rid of it eventually. It's just that we need to find we need to find the mods that can replace it in the mod pools, that like in order to make it work. And it's like, this is the annoying thing. Is it's like if we just removed it right now, there just wouldn't be enough of a mod, like the mod pools wouldn't work.
There is an interesting thing we see where and I don't like, for sure it is understandable, but we see a lot of videos being made with just absolute 1000% misunderstandings of how it all works. And which probably isn't helping its cause in any way, because it has all these hidden DR
I really
things
like that
and just
armor
a bunch
set.
of hidden mechanics in it. But yeah, there's certainly a mass amount of misunderstanding as to how it works, and people going, look, it does exactly this change, and it's like, it's not even doing 1/10 of what you're saying it's doing. That being said, I'm not saying it's not a problem. It is 100% a problem, but there is certainly a mass misunderstanding with again, because we don't even explain it anywhere. It's just this hidden. There's some formula somewhere, that no one has access to.
Yeah,
except for
pretty
us.
cool
And you've always been a
device.
bit secretive on
Keeps track of
drop-related
your
stuff in
how many
particular,
uses
and,
of
are
tablets you
guys
did too.
kinda happy to keep it that way for that one, or is it something you're like misinformation?
we
I don't like
to
this
make
pack
it,
as much.
Clear. We want it. We were like, why don't we just get rid of the DR and find a way to make it work and actually display the actual value? But that is at conflict of removing it. So, there's a little bit of like, we just got to pick our direction here. And
It's inherently unclear even to us in some sense. Like we can't
cool,
say like the number of the like. Well, okay, that sounds a bit weird. But what I mean
Yeah, the
is,
level up
it's
effect
it's
is
not
cool,
like
and
when you
keeping
get
track,
that,
like
it just
saying
increases
how long
currency.
since
Like,
your last
it's
level. I
through,
do like that
10
one.
layers of like different ways things work that kind of result in an overall amount, like overall.
But, like, that
currency
skin,
increasing.
eh.
like the content people are playing and stuff. Or-
Well, not just that, but even
It's
in terms
neat.
of just the way the
Peg
system
leg's
works, right?
cool
Like
and
it's a very
everything, but-
indirect method by
Yeah,
which
I hate
currency is
that one.
increased. It isn't
Yeah.
just that we
That
drop.
one
It's not just like there's some code somewhere where it's like increase currency by this amount. Like it is actually like it is a result of multiple systems on top of each other working to result in that, and that's why like the only way for us to even know like what it even does is by simulating
Yeah,
actual
that's very New
drops from
World-y.
actual monsters in order to work out what it actually did. So yeah, it's like it sort of I understand that might seem strange, but it's because like the drops are complicated, and there's like so many things we've done over the years to kind of like massage them in various ways, and it's like it becomes quite unclear at some point, even like what the relationship between one number and another can even be. So
But
yeah.
I think the takeaway is Jonathan said he's removing it.
I want to get rid of it. We just need to find a thing to replace it within the mod pool.
I'm like,
And
I
that's very, very
it's okay.
difficult.
I don't need to understand it.
It's
then.
exactly the same conversation if we bring up what Dex gives as a it's like it's 100% the same type of problem.
So what should Dex
Jesus,
give?
yeah.
What do we make Dex give rarity?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Scales currency
Yeah,
drops,
no.
exactly.
but through several layers of
And
abstraction.
gold find if you're a wyvern.
Only for a wyvern.
Yeah, just for dragons.
Makes
Alright.
sense.
Cool.
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, gee.
On the topic of balance for damage types and damage scaling, lightning damage seems like a clear-cut winner at the moment overall. Just in terms of doing more raw damage, having access to shock, and even having its own kind of version of stun through electrocute, and I guess separate problems with, like, for example, fire and ignite. Where are you guys at with like the balance between the elements and lightning damage
I'm not going to
overall?
say
30
that
minutes
they're
till
now
patch
equal,
notes.
but like a few things. So I mean, I know there was like a 15% more max damage notable. That's now 10. We've done, I think, all of the skills that had multiplicative shock effect are now increased, so they stack additively with the tree. So, you know, it's honestly just like a whole bunch of different little things. Lightning rods are nerfed at endgame, just while we're here.
Ooh, lightning
Don't worry,
rods.
lots of things are buffed. That aren't
Tons of things.
that
Red
aren't
lightning rods,
builds
by
necessarily.
shrews.
But no, some are as well. But yeah, it's. I don't want to just make it about a like
they still
let's
doing
gut
stuff?
lightning.
There's
I
some
want to
videos
make it be
cool?
like, well,
They have
let's
Q&A.
make these
They're
other
doing
things feel
Q&As
cooler and
right
more
now.
special. So it would be very easy to
Put on
just go and
Twitch.
gut lightning across the
Yeah.
board. But that just seems like an overall net loss of fun. I'd much rather, you know, find ways to incentivize the others as opposed to just take away the thing that currently is, you know, kind of enjoyable. So, again, it's more important to not just nerf. Oh, now they're equal. So yeah, I
Do you
won't
see
say
the
where
whole
they're
thing
yet,
about
but
less monsters, but they're more rewarding?
the problem is obvious. So
Yeah, I like
at
that.
least
I,
it's not-
I like
we
killing
don't really
hordes of
want things to be
monsters, but
like
it does help
insane
cater
power
to the
level
builds that are a
ultimately.
little
Like, it
more
seems
single
like,
target.
You know, one of them should be
You're
more
gonna
damage,
have
one of them has
less
like utility,
monsters,
like
but they're
cold
gonna be
frozen
harder to
shock.
fight
sure.
and
Like
stuff like
cold
that.
is
So
ultimately-
more single
better
target
for
builds
except
rather
one
than
element has more
like
clear speed
full
than
screen
another. So,
clear.
like,
I
while it
mean,
may not be
obviously,
direct directly, it is
full
some-
screen
in some
clear that
indirect
can
way it needs to
kill those
translate to
harder
damage
mobs
on
is still
some
going to be
level.
better.
I mean,
But
You know, you need to, you know, it needs to, or rather, it needs to indirectly translate into clear speed in some manner, right?
Like a good and a
So,
bad.
you know, that's
Unless
the,
you're making the
less
monsters
bouncing, but
40%
you actually
stronger.
have
and
to-
they
that's what I
aren't
mean, right?
sticking
Because
around, and then you freeze
Yeah.
them.
yeah,
your
maybe because we're
totems
doing
out
that, it means
really,
that it
like, pop
ultimately
off.
means that, you know, the higher damage, smaller AoE, like not having to actually rely on arcing all the time to be able to get the massive AoE.
the other
Kind
thing
of
they
like make a
talked
difference.
about
So even
is
just that change
like
alone can
not
shift
this
the data,
league,
like,
but not this coming league, but the next
Yeah, okay.
league. They're revamping the Atlas tree,
so
and one of the things
it
they
sounds
want to
like
do is give you the
Change
option
fair-
to go
fair
back to the
amount
old way
changes like the
too,
passive tree scaling
and
for
try to
lightning
keep
stuff
like the
that.
loot equal,
Yeah,
where you
sure.
can
Can
either
we
have
shock
less
this
monsters,
tree?
more loot, or more
Yep.
monsters
kind of, you have this thing where it's like, okay, well, let's say you're in cold, obviously you can freeze more often, but then often the boss is sitting or the monsters are sitting in there, then poise.
And that's like a really cool idea of being able to like tailor your game experience. If you want a fuck ton of mobs, you can go that route on the Atlas tree. If you
50,
feel like you're getting overrun,
can't really scale. So like already alone, you can 5x the power of a shock, because I think the cap is 100, and in some cases, Stormweaver even go further than that. Whereas you can't exactly be doubling the power of a chill necessarily, and so on. So there's like even just that as a random thing. Like Ignite doesn't have enough love right now for sure. Yep. So even if it was meant to be those 3 ailments are a point of comparison, I mean, Shock is kind of a little bit crazy right now compared to what the others are capable of doing. Not to say Chill isn't strong, not to say Freeze isn't also obviously powerful. They will have their time, and they may have already had their. I mean, we had freaking cast on Comet on crit for a while there, and all of that as well. So it will always change, but I mean, just bringing some of the Shock back and some of the other just little outliers here and there was a first step in the direction. But it's very important not to just do I hate lightning, goodbye lightning. It's like be easy to do. It's the wrong thing to do, for sure. So.
Yeah, people also like playing lightning. I think
exactly.
I think it's just the feeling when they're like playing their cold builds and like it's better to convert to lightning. That's why I think that's when it becomes more problematic. You kind of mentioned you touched on the fact that you feel like Ignite needs some love. I feel like with damaging elements, there's a fundamental thing maybe that's causing problems where. It's scaling with like hit damage and crit, so directly, I guess, in this case, differently to how it's been done in the past, where it leads to maybe, in addition to it being a bit weaker, feeling like just kind of an add-on, like Ignite's not really a thing. I don't really have a pure Ignite build. Ignite's just like a bonus added kind of damage on top.
Yeah,
of
it's a bit flat, honestly. I agree. We've had heaps of discussions here about all kinds of different options. We had some boil down to whether or not we're going to do keystones. We want to do something. We just haven't landed on exactly what we want it to be and how, whether or not it's like we change the base versus change it through, again, a keystone or something you spec into. But yeah, it is a bit flat, and it doesn't have enough, it is, as you said. It's just, here's a bit more DPS, I guess, at the end of the day. And then even there's limited ways of kind of scaling it, and I'm not going to say there's none. There are some, but it's not enough. It's overall, I'd say it just hasn't got enough love. So, but we want to.
Backtracking a little bit on the gearing, we touched on crafting a little bit, and so I love 0-3 crafting. Like, it was such a huge change from like a game that some would joke didn't have crafting into some of the most powerful and interesting crafting we've had ever in Path of Exile. I think it's right up there. 0-3 crafting was amazing. Like the combination of the core currency changes, the changes to essences was really good, and how these things interplay with
the crafting was really good in 0-3.
Abyss crafting even. So like definitely felt like some things were a bit illegal, and just the overall like how good it was. Like I oh no, I feel like this is illegal. So what of that was illegal or is illegal?
Homogenizing they got rid of.
We said essences. So we talked about essence of sorcery.
It's not like we're gutting anything or anything like that, right? There's just a few illegal things.
It's a few.
Are you pretty you like overall where it ended up?
I think it's way better than it was before.
Yeah, 100%.
Great.
Yeah.
It's what I found playing, and obviously and collating a little bit of data, but it's the kind of thing where I don't have enough data to go and or enough feedback to go and make some sweeping change. Is that people find that getting the it's too easy now to get to the absolute upper echelons of gear. Is what I kind of honestly, and I assumed that there'd be a bit of a public civil war about me saying that, because I could see people going, no, that I love it that way, and a bunch of people going like, well, I'm completing my characters way too fast, right? I got nowhere to go. I got no, I want to play for longer, and I have nothing to spend my time doing. Like,
that's
it's
fair.
Done. My character's finished. And I could see people being very binary on that for sure. But then it's like, how much of that just comes down to homogenizing, for example, and a few different axes like that.
I think a fair amount.
And
Homogenizing.
but yeah, I know there's other problems, like for example, because of the high tier currency, there's a little bit of like you don't even need to pick up tier 5 rares anymore, because what you actually want is a base type to craft from. And so in some ways it's wrong in that regard, for sure. Like if people feel that way, that's probably not good. Yeah, and then there was some other things with the essences that went wrong, like for example the essence of haste, being able to craft melee tiers of attack speed onto bows. It's not alright, right? That's better than what a bow can even yield. So like now a dropped bow can never be the best thing in the game, because there's an essence that can grant high value. That's not intentional. Like the essences should be good, but they shouldn't be giving illegal mods, as we keep saying. So yeah, it's a bit of that, but I would hate to. I want to see how it goes, but I definitely feel the thing that like definitely hit me the most that I want to get more feedback on is the people just going, it's not you. There's no point in picking up T5 rares eventually, because it, you know, I would rather just craft from a white base and I can more guarantee that it's going to be good. And so what's the point? But yeah, there's a bit of that. And so, but again, it's very important with these kinds of things not to just like, yeah, that's obviously right. Let's just change everything. And now item gearing is just ruined, because you could very easily undo with a lot of the good that 030's crafting added. So, yeah, fine tooth comb, being very careful with it.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
So it sounds like definitely getting rid of a few specific things. Omen of homogenization was a pretty clear one. I think that was like seemed hyper illegal, as well as like some of the specific essences. Like the tiered currencies, you feel like you're pretty happy with that overall?
I think overall I like them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And like the essence changes in general.
Yeah, for sure.
And what about abyss crafting? Now that that's going core, is that like changing a lot? Because that I think played a pretty important role in giving you some interesting decision making in crafting.
It's not changing very much aside from the removal of waystone crafting from it.
Yeah,
sure, there'll be a few number changes around.
Yeah, just little bits here and there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, inherently we have to, because we buffed staff prefixes, we have to go and look at everywhere that adds equivalent mods and make sure those are increased as well. And so, like, either way, there's some overflow effects that just kind of happen due to balance changes all over the place. But nothing like no significant change to that at this point, for sure. But that's still there. When you're playing through, even though it's core, when you're playing through the campaign, much like you get the world map icons, or it's like, oh, this thing's here. We've got a bunch of areas where there are abysses.
A few.
I think it's 6. And each give, throughout the entire campaign, each will give a crafting thing. So you have at least 6 guaranteed campaign crafts.
Oh, great. Awesome.
If you explore and do the areas, and you can see it on your world map if you've done it or not. And so you're giving you a bit of that throughout, so we don't lose that the league had. And then
I'm so excited to play, man.
Use your tablets and then start running it. And
we have to wait 7 days.
I'm amped to hear
or whatever
that,
it is.
Overall, it seems to be fairly intact then, because there's definitely a huge
8
fan
days.
of like the direction crafting's taking there. So, and I'm excited to see it getting built upon with like the Sacrifice of Val stuff too. Well, the new Val stuff. Excellent news. Alongside that, we had the addition of asynchronous trade, and both things obviously very powerful for gear acquisition, raising both like the kind of floor of like what's considered your like baseline gear. What's your one exalt gear basically goes up a lot, but also like getting it more accessible to get to, like to craft or to obtain the really high end gear. How much of an effect have you seen in terms of like players kind of making the game easier? Like, has the game gotten a lot easier overall for people? Are people like reaching their final product earlier?
It's really hard to tell how much of it is the trade system and how much of it is the crafting changes. Like, it's actually really quite hard to disentangle.
So what about as an overall picture?
Yeah, I mean, look, but at the end of the day, it's like the crafting system the trading system as it is something people just need to have. So, like, we just have to, work within that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like, if we have a end-game itemization problem, we're not going to go and say we need to nerf trading.
Good.
Right.
We're past that. We can put that in our review.
Yes.
Excellent.
Nerf
so
trade.
Is like, I guess now more just adapting over to that. I'm just curious, like, as to how extreme it has been, because it seems like it would be absolutely massive, like crazy. But
it's honestly quite hard to tell, as I said, due to the other changes.
I guess it's like a longer period thing to analyze.
But then at the end of the day as well, you could say that if this is a feature we need to have, then it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, we just need to work with it and just deal with it. So you know,
I know in the past there was a fear, and this kind of touches on crafting a lot,
Yep.
where if people could craft like really good gear super easily, that they would stop playing. Like the player retention would go down. I feel like in some cases we've seen some of the opposite phenomena. Like there is, to an extent, the opposite phenomena where like people gain access to the builds they want to play. They gain access to content they might not have otherwise in a more reasonable time frame for them. So their engagement and the amount of time they play ends up going up as a result. Like in a surprising twist.
That definitely can happen, but at the end of the day, like retention isn't exactly the reason why we do it. It's because we sort of feel like, you know, like if we did want to make getting the hardest gear harder, then the reason we would be doing it is because we don't like the feeling that you can get of like, I don't have anything else to get. You know what I mean? Like that would be the reason to do it, not necessarily because of retention reasons. You know what I mean? Like it's more about the play experience, to be honest. Because you know, when it comes right down to it, like our model has always been, we want to keep you coming back every league. Like we don't necessarily care how long you play a given league for. We just want to make sure that you each time you play a league, you're enjoying your experience, that you want to come back and play the next one. So you know, that's kind of our philosophy on that. So you know, retention isn't directly a thing that we're like optimizing for exactly in that way.
Players hyperfixate on that.
Yeah, it's more about retention from league to league. Like what are we doing? You know, like how many players do we get back for the next league, as opposed to how many players do we get back the next day?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because we have like Steam charts, we get hyperfixated on retention numbers.
I mean, it's not like it doesn't matter either, right? Because you can, on some level, judge the success of how much people liked a league based on that.
Yeah, it can tell you how much fun people are.
But like at the end of the day, what people are saying about what they thought about it is actually more important than the number of people actually playing it. Because like that, you know, so long as they're like happy and they want to come back, you know, then we're happy.
Mean, if you have more fun in a smaller amount of time and then you're more happy to come back next league, then that's a win.
That isn't necessarily a problem, right?
You may have played less this league, but maybe...
So they're kind of a little bit unrelated in some ways, but also sort of related in others, you know.
Okay, well, it'd be interesting to see how this continues to play out then, the crafting trading thing. I'm super interested in like the
17 minutes till patch notes.
But it's definitely had a big impact, and on the whole, like 0.3 felt like a huge net positive for both crafting and trading.
Agreed.
So good. Yep. So good.
Agreed.
All right, well, we'll keep. I'll ask about that like everything. I think 'cause it's like where do you guys feel it's at now? Yeah. What about now? Can we scroll to the end? Thanks. There we go. So we had just a couple of random questions. I do see one in chat, but it's not really a question. People just typing move speed, but I don't really actually know what the context for that is. You guys know?
It's the speed at which you move.
Oh, very insightful. Thank you. Maybe you guys could type an actual question in chat. I'm just saying instead of just chanting, but
well, I mean, adjacent to that, one change we have made, which is kind of interesting, and I think it's a kind of I don't know if the general desire is more or less of it. I suspect you'll find a bit of both. But irrelevant of that, like a change we made is there's lots of in-game runes where you can now only use one of them. And
interesting.
It's quite interesting because obviously before it was like get the double socketable effect on boots, put all the removal speed runes in, and it's well, great, now you got. And you know, it's kind of interesting, but it also meant that generally what was happening is every single slot was just stacked with the same rune type. So now you're getting this like kind of nice mixture of different runes being used and different things, and it's kind of enhancing that. But yes, it overall makes the amount of movement speed you're getting from boots lower at the end game. But those were like very, very, very expensive. So which is kind of cool. What else is not much else has really changed
kind
there.
of like a rehashing of the old discussions of like the mandatory move speed on boots versus like implicits and things like that. I've always been a big fan of like a little bit of implicit movement speed on boots as you go up or something like that. But I know you guys are happy with like having move speed be an important stat on boots. Like, I guess, and maybe some people just want more move speed, but
I mean, some people always will.
That's a thing, yeah.
There's probably some people that want to move faster. It's just less. I think there's some people who might want to have a less mandatoriness to have to move so fast as well to some degree, but
I've been more on that side of things, like maybe make some of the maps a little smaller so that move speed's less important, I feel. We don't like mandatory mod items on it was that topic. Okay, cool. Thanks team. Just confirming that. I feel like that's been discussed fairly well at this point.
We're at the same stance on that, really. Which is, it's interesting because technically, if we end up acknowledging that is wrong in the context of staffs and wands, then we might have to reevaluate why it's right in the context of movement speed. You know, it's an interesting thing where one discussion might yield the other because it's kind of a similar problem in both contexts. And we might end up who knows what side of the fence we're going to land on, you know what I mean? So
I've seen Acolyte of Chayula get mentioned a lot. I have not played that class, so I can't speak to it too closely, but is that one that is getting
we've done number
love,
buffs at the very least, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think almost every ascendancy class has some level, like, honestly, some of it is like one node changed, some of it, like, for example, Pathfinder's got 2 whole new notables, and, like, we got rid, I mean, Pathfinder just did that, we got rid of the poison spreading notable because it's pretty much Herald of Plague, and we just put the 4-pointer to the 2-pointer, so you get the actual more powerful spike one for cheaper. We got rid of that, like, multi-choice ailment mitigation, and we were like, wow, it's the Pathfinder, so let's do some cool passive tree stuff. So pulling some inspiration from the PoE1 Scion, the Pathfinder can now also allocate passives from either the Witch or the Warrior start points, you know,
Oh,
for
interesting.
just, like, you know, doing some crazy builds. And I think there's even a new notable on there where normally you have your highway nodes and it's like 5 dex and strength. There's also now 3 other options for the Pathfinder can take that node, and now there's 6 choices you can do on your travel nodes. So it's like, oh, I don't want as much attributes, I'll get instead damage. I think it's damage, defenses, and like cost efficiency or something. So you can kind of like better balance how much damage you want, defenses you want, or reduce. So it's like another kind of cool, interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, that's a class where it's gotten a bit more changes. Acolyte is numerical for now. But again, we want to do something grander with Chaos. It's on
There's quite a lot of just monks
list.
generally improvements as well, just balance-wise, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, every class has kind of got
Been pretty
changes everywhere.
in the thick of it.
I think the
balance.
patch notes currently lacks. We have a thing where we're doing a bunch of changes to specific monsters for being spected.
Okay.
Like when we actually looked at it, we're like, look, if we just increase Spectre overall, it's going to increase the specific specters. Like we want to increase the amount of the pool of viable monsters for different cases.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Now it takes it from a skills balance team into the kind of monster balance team situation, and like such a different resource. So we're going to start doing that process where we try and do like, you know, 5 to 10 from here and here and here and here per patch, and kind of just start trying to get them to be more viable. Specifically as specters, and honestly you'll find most of the time it's just changing the cooldowns and changing the AI to be like, not because normally they're just like, I have to care about a player and maybe some minions are there, but honestly sometimes they just don't even care about the minions. They're just like, nah, there's a player, right? They assume there's a player.
Alright, unfortunately, guys, I gotta AFK real fast. I hope it's real fast.
For them to target.
I would just end stream because this is about to end and then do patch notes later. But I don't know. I'm gonna see if it's quick. Hopefully it's quick and I won't be gone too long. But I'm gonna throw a beer back up and hopefully I won't be too long. I don't know. I just have to do something on the computer real fast, but I wasn't told what. So.
Specifically a bunch of changes around command skills and stuff like that, just because I want to just do a little bit more iteration before we release that. A couple of Ice Ranger changes. I think that's like a massive improvement to the Ice Ranger kind of play. I mean, using the existing skills, a lot of numerics, a lot of changes to ice fragments, stuff like that. What else is not in there? There's a few other bits and pieces not in the patch notes, and that's because all of our stuff is... And that's just not to say there's nothing changed. I've just taken them out for now because I want to make sure they're right. Otherwise, we have to give some false information and then change it, and it's not great.
You've been updating the patch notes over the course of a week now, so people should still probably expect that.
Yeah, for sure.
Initial patch notes coming.
I know they were like... I mean, I think we ended up changing something like 80 different unique items or something like that.
Sick.
Again, mostly focusing on endgame ones, bosses ones, mythic ones, working our way down the rarity. So like more of the ones that are meant to be higher value and meant to be higher effort. We've demoted some to be more common. We've promoted some to be rarer, stuff like that. And done a whole pass. But even then, like I know last night we were like, oh, there's like kind of 5 or 6 here that we're like maybe on the fence about. Let's, to be safe, pull them out, discuss them, reevaluate them, and then pull them back in the patch notes afterwards. Just to be safe, because again, I don't want to mislead people.
I saw a question about that from our resident summoner expert in chat. But the monster changes, like for making specific changes to monsters for specters, does that end up in patch notes? That seems like pretty hard to track.
It will this time.
Nice.
Well, I don't think we've done much in the way of actual specific monster changes this time around, but this, what I was talking about doing will, yes.
Okay, yeah.
It just, what I'm saying is it won't be in the initial set of patch notes because we haven't finished them yet. So, but they will be, like, I think the patch note says will be in a post later this week, or later, in the week coming. So
a funny one in chat I see is like, when can we get more melee variety? I'm like, you guys literally just added like a new melee weapon. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but the talisman's a melee weapon.
No, melee is never right in any game ever. No, I mean, because it's kind of true, right? Like,
it's quite. There's a funny phenomenon right now where it's like, whenever we talk about melee, people say that like there's literally only maces in the game. And it's like quarterstaves are over in the corner crying. It's like no one pays any attention to it.
Yeah,
It's like doesn't count as well.
But
it's like a half ranged weapon. I guess.
Stormwave really melee, Then you get that.
There's always this funny exception with it, but like ultimately, I think what it comes down to is that the game doesn't have swords.
Yes,
yet.
I know.
Is that,
and I know we need swords. Yeah, I get it.
We need swords.
We need swords.
So swords are
funny.
From talking to you, it sounds like swords. Swords are getting added to the game at some point.
At some point, we will have swords. I can promise you that.
Yes, it's the importance is understood. It seems it's a bit too fundamental, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Swords are a bit cool.
But yeah, I mean, we were talking about the ascendancy. So yes, a lot of numerics, some more broader changes. Some getting a little bit, some getting a lot. Like just because it's getting a little bit doesn't mean we think it's in the right spot. At the end of the day, we've just started going. Like Smith and Katava got a decent amount of changes.
Nice.
Kind of a lot better now for sure. We like over nerfed it. But yeah, lots of like, around the. I mean, honestly, like I want to say 90% of all the balance changes are probably in the direction of taking underplayed and underpowerful things and making them a bit better.
Nice.
That isn't to say that we've successfully made, like maybe at the end of the day, lightning archers are still somehow better than ice archers at the end game, but certainly the gap is narrowed and you'll feel less bad for playing one over the other, and less bad about decisions. And so that's ultimately the goal, and we'll get there eventually, but huge step in the right direction, I'd say. But yeah, and then things like Outer Louis, all those outliers on the top end, those are coming down a bit, for sure. Sometimes more than a bit, depending how extreme they were. Culmination's another one where like just having an uncapped combo thing, and you get damage per combo. I mean, and then obviously you can just one-shot everything in the game at that point, so that's a problem as well. Some of these outliers 100% brought into place, given caps, whatever the case is, but again, more like 95% of all the changes that we're trying to make is bringing up the underplayed things to be a bit better, and just to all kinds of varying degrees. It's really hard to. It's like, do you just do everything across the board and try and look at everything and give everything a minute, or do you really hone in on one build? And right at this point, we're trying to do a very widespread. Let's look at literally every skill and go, is there a decision we can? What would we do? And it's like, it would require this huge rework. Okay, instead of waiting for that, can we just do some numbers for now? Do the rework later to really give it what it truly should be? If so, let's do that, and then bench that thing for a later time when we have more time, and then move to the next, do the same assessment, and then we just try to do that for literally everything.
The Balanced Ninja Squad is currently focusing on clear speed, it sounds like. AoE.
Yes, but for things that are not already, up at the top tier, generally.
Right. We're getting quite close to patch notes, so we'll rapid fire some things off here. It seemed like at one point, like druids were going to have claws as their weapons, so that has obviously changed to talismans. Or
they were like a long time.
That was actually for the huntress.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, weird. Yeah. So it sounds like claws are probably not going to be a thing then.
Probably not anytime soon.
Decided not less interesting than other options. Yeah. All right. Cool. Hot swapping between controller and mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, something I promise every single time.
And
yet somehow we still haven't done it yet. So what I can say is that it is actually, we have an implementation of it. We're not shipping it this time, but it's much more close than it was last time. Like there's just some stuff that needs to happen, but like, it is a thing that has been seen on a programmer's workstation as to work. But yeah, there's still a bit more to do. But yeah, like next time, I know I've said this twice before, but next time we will definitely have that. I know it's a weirdly huger feature than it seems because like the code was just originally not written with that in mind at all, and it's just requiring a lot of re-engineering of a whole bunch of existing UI to be able to get it to work.
Looking forward to it, so I can
I know.
inventory management.
I know. We will have it, but
controller inventory. Oof, no.
But
Okay, good news. It's being worked on daily. It sounds like. Do you have like a rough timeline for full release, or not ready to announce that yet?
Don't really have it to announce, but I mean, look, I certainly don't want it to be 2027. Like I really want it to be next year. Like I really do. So like it'll be. I really want it to be next year. But
we certainly underestimated the amount of work we wanted to. Certainly by having to make all the leagues constantly and all of that. And I know some people might be like, just don't. But like,
you need to do.
We want people to play the game still and enjoy it and, do what we want to do. But so, you get this thing where we severely underestimated how much extra time it would add.
Your rule of cool of like, we want to do the 130 extra passives because it's cool. I mean, that has an expense.
Yes, all of this does get in the way technically, but...
I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're not going to release until everyone's happy.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's what needs to happen first. So
it's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
With the performance improvements, which looked like really impressive, even more than the 25% you were saying, like looking at the side-by-side footage was like, it looks even better than that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we did 25. I said 25% as a commitment because like that's kind of like I want to make sure, like, look, people are really sensitive to the stuff, so like I wanted to make sure that we're not over-promising.
Under-promise.
And so under-promise and over-deliver was the plan, but effectively, like, I've been focusing a lot myself actually and trying to make sure that it's getting better. Effectively, what we've done is, I mean, obviously there's just sort of traditional optimization that happens, but a lot of it is just effectively making sure we're multi-threading things better, taking advantage of more CPU cores. If you're GPU bound and you don't have dynamic resolution turned on, then it obviously won't affect you because you're GPU bound. If you've got dynamic resolution on, so the GPU is not so much of a concern, then CPU was definitely a problem for just about everyone. Like even really fast CPUs were having issues in in-game mapping. So the goal really was to make it so that, like when you've got a lot of shit going on, that your CPU is not overloaded. We did that by multi-threading things much better than we were before. Traditional optimization, just lots of improvements there. Like now... there's so many things that are working better than they were before. Like in many cases, honestly, you see double frame rate, like just straight up.
Awesome.
But as I said, like not consistently in all cases. So and consoles obviously saw a huge improvement. They consoles just have weaker CPUs than PCs do. So therefore, when you're doing CPU optimization, consoles are what's going to benefit from that. It's just a lot better. Now, one of the things I'm a bit worried about is that by multi-threading more things, you can run into multi-threading bugs. And so there might be, hopefully not, but there might be some more crashing going on when we first launched, just because the thing with multi-threading is that depending on the exact scenario, different things can happen at different times. It can cause some issues. I'm really hoping we don't run into that. We're trying to do as much testing as we can to fix all those kinds of issues. Effectively, that would be the worry. But yeah, I think that it was definitely worth taking the plunge and doing that stuff because it is way better. I probably should make like a video on exactly some of the go into a deep dive into it at some point because it's kind of interesting.
And it feels like even still, occasionally you guys are still just finding
ridiculous
things that we just made it a whole nother chunk faster.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Just because of some just ancient thing.
It's we definitely still find some crazy stuff, and it's going to be a lot better.
I expect it's just going to keep going as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's the other thing is like I want to spend even more time on getting this exactly right. We're not even at the point when I'm looking at it now, I'm like we could still theoretically make this quite a bit faster than it even still is.
You've been personally really on this every time.
I have. Just because it's been such a big issue, and I wanted to actually get back in there and spend a bit of time on it. And as I said, like already it's so much better now. But we'll be even better than that.
Awesome, fantastic. It's great news. Patch notes are here. So we will end there and let people go. No one's interested in listening to us anymore. They've got stuff. Everybody's gone. No, thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure to talk to you once again, and I look forward to checking it out and going and playing it some more.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Alrighty, thanks for the questions, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
I don't know which camera's on, so I'll just look at you.
I'm your number one fan!
Right.
weapon class, Talisman. Talismans are two-handed martial weapons that are used for shape-shifting attacks. Equipping a talisman shape-shifts you into an animal form. Grants you basic attack. This is the new weapon here. Oh, and Path of Exile themselves with the raid. What up, everybody? We're going over the patch notes. Good interview by Ziggy D. Thanks for asking the performance-related issues about lightning and rarity and some of the questions I know you were polling there from the audience as well. So, good Q&A there. And where the patch notes don't see it, I will link you guys for the people that need it. Here's a link directly to the patch notes if you want to see the patch notes directly. There you are. You're welcome to read them with me. Please, no spoilers. I'm going top down. Okay, let me discover any changes for myself here as we go through. So, where are we here? 10 new unique items. Add a new weapon class, Talisman. The Talismans are kind of cool. I thought the Talismans were going to have like their own basic attack associated with it, but instead, like the way the Talismans actually work is you like select the form that you want to do. That was kind of surprising. I didn't think it was going to actually work that way, but what up to everybody from the PoE? Thanks for the raid, PoE. As we go through the patch notes here. Added 4 new augment items with new modifiers you can craft onto your items. I'm assuming this is coming with the Vol mechanic, unless I missed it there as well. Continue to incrementally improve sound, art, effects, environment, and performance, like they were saying basically at the end there. Okay, Abyss is a core mechanic. So everyone, I mean, no one here is surprised Abyss is going core, right? Like, pretty much everyone liked Abyss. Abyss is going core. Added an Atlas passive tree for Rise of the Abyss content. We might have to rewatch the reveal trailer to see all of those notes, but I think one of them was like when you do it, you have a chance to overrun like maps next to it, which is kind of an interesting one. That was something else. The preserved, or as I call it, the perverted vertebrae is no longer dropping. So there's no more of that, and no longer having to like watch the dude go take a green jacuzzi in order to actually add this, and the delirium being added in the maps being removed as well is nice. No more having to do that. Updated the Well of Souls quest to account for the fact that this no longer spawns in campaign areas, but I'm assuming we still have the Lightless Passage in Act 2. I would imagine the same thing. General improvements, optimization stuff. We'll just skip this. They went over that in some detail in the Q&A. Player changes. Here we go. Oh, Tailwind right at the start. To absolutely no one's surprise, Tailwind now grants 1% increased movement speed, 2% increased skill speed instead of 3%, 10% evasion rating instead of 15, and prevents 1% of damage from deflected hits per stack. So we have skill speed nerf a bit there on Tailwind. This still seems fine, does it? It's a bit of a nerf, but like Tailwind's still good. I'm assuming they don't change. Are they changing the actual less damage portion of the next node after it? I mean, so Elbozo skill? I don't think that's like. I mean, it's not dead. It's a nerf, but they didn't like completely gut it, right? I mean, it still seems usable. Let's see, your 10% skill speed. Yeah, the 50% evasions, I suppose. The 10% skill speed, I don't really feel like it's like a huge deal. That seems. The raw damage. The raw damage portion was on a different notable node. So are they changing that to prevent from deflected? Because if it's prevented from deflected, that's actually a pretty significant change. But I mean, this still seems good though. Like, it's better than some of the other Ascendancy nodes. Only from deflected attacks, or was it like that? I'm assuming that's tied for the next Ascendancy node as well. Like, I assume they're talking about both of them kind of combined here. Basic unarmed attack is now 1.65 attacks per second instead of 1.4. Low buff to Hollow Palm? Low buff to Hollow Palm, perhaps? Modifiers to the number of enemies required to be considered surrounded can no longer reduce the required number of enemies below 1. Alright, I mean, to be honest, this is fair. Like, how can you be surrounded with nothing around you, my dude? You can be out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm surrounded. Like, nah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Okay, makes sense. Rage regeneration now pauses rage decay, similar to other means of gaining rage. This means your rage will never decay while it is regenerating. Nice. All rage spinning costs have been changed to 10 rage. Rage no longer causes a visual effect of your characters until you have 10 or more rage, so you know you can use these abilities. I'm sure that's not gonna. not going to change things for like the support chimps, I would assume. Physical damage reduction from armor can no longer cause a hit to deal 0 damage. This is mostly targeted at preventing cases where multi-hitting player skills could do 0 damage to an armored monster at very low... dude, like, ZDPS is no longer a meme. It's actually a very real thing. 0 damage per second. Fact. Good lord. I actually didn't realize that was a real thing. And they say armor is bad. ZDPS confirmed. Alright, what do we have here? Igniting aura effects, including Ignite the Ground, no longer apply infinite ignites. Instead, they apply regular ignites with standard duration, and will reapply them after they expire the next time the aura applies flammability to the target, the same as if they ignited and removed the target. Okay. Is this so that it's like scaling with the on hit, or? I don't think that's a nerf, right? I think that's so mechanically... No more cast on Ignite Abyss? Abuse? Oh, you're right. It's so you don't get the meta gem reprocking. Anything about Act 6, 7? Nah, man, no X. Still have interludes. Is Delirium Fog on? They changed Delirium Fog. I think it's the ground. Ignited aura effects, including ignited ground. You know what? Here's my copium. You know why this is? RF is coming next patch, boys. This is in preparation of RF Templar, surely. Leaked here first. Pox will be meta next league. That's what it's for. That's good for players as well and not get one-shot by Flam. Copium? Alright. Surely. Alright, ascendancy changes. Here we go. This is actually what I'm curious about. Okay, Wind Ward has been removed. Wait a minute. Which one's actually Wind Ward here? Let me pull up PoE so I can actually look at these. Let's actually pull this up. Wind Ward. Is that the Tailwind one? That's the second portion with the less damage, and now it's tied to the first Notobo? Is that what I'm reading right here? That's the damage mitigation one. Yeah, that's the second part of it, right? So now if it's all tied to the same one, then you're actually kind of getting 2 points back, right? Where is it? I have one of these Dead-Eye Degenerates somewhere. Where is it? Here. Riders of Rowan. Okay, so yeah, with 3% less damage taken per Tailwind. That's actually pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. That's actually pretty significant. So Tailwind now is just innately grabbing the damage deflected. Is what that actually means. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. That's pretty significant. Bullseye now requires Called Shot. Bullseye now applies 10 critical weakness. Previously. Called Shot.
Math, history, social studies. It's all been leading up to this moment. Life is short, but lunch is shorter. That's the Lunchables effect.
I always had a private doctor. I didn't think I needed VA care. Then I learned VA is ranked above private care systems nearby and costs less. I'm getting the best care of my life with providers trained to treat veterans. Get what you earn. Visit choose.va.gov.
My streaming network is expanding. I need talent. They require persuasion.
Now that is efficient exposition.
Adoring fans will be watching your every move. I have little tolerance for low ratings.
What the hell? Projectile will create a mirage that uses socketed ranged attacks for a short duration, then vanishes. You cannot create another mirage for a short time after initially creating one. That actually sounds really good. Mirage meta skill. While active, firing a ranged attack projectile will create a mirage that uses socketed ranged attacks for a duration. Wait, that actually is like really cool. Added a new Mirage Deadeye Ascendancy passive skill. Mirage Archer, yeah. It's a Mirage Archer skill. It's terrible. Wasn't good last patch. I mean, it's cool in concept. still going to be 75% Deadeye? Nah, I don't think so. I want to see the rest of the Druid Ascendancy, too. We're looking at the changes. Stormweaver has +2 limit to elemental skills. No spoilers! I'm getting there. Alright. Pathfinder. Contagious contamination has been removed. Practical remedies have been removed. Running and Saw now grants cannot be heavy stun while sprinting. Wait, you can't... That's actually really cool. You can't be stunned out of sprint. I mean, that kind of makes sense with Pathfinder. New Pathfinder Seeker multi-choice ascendancy passive skill with the following choices. Path of the Warrior. Can allocate passives from the Warrior sword. Path of Sorcerer's can... Oh, so you have to spend ascendancy points to get into there? Okay. That's what he was talking about. Each choice now grants 4 passive skill points. Wait, you actually can get passive skill points from that, too. That seems kind of good. 4 passive skill... Okay. Traveler's Wisdom now requires Path Seeker. Traveler's Wisdom now instead grants attribute passive skill, offer additional options. 5% increased damage, 5% global... Wait. Wait, 5%... You gotta be shit. Wait, 5% global defenses? Holy shit, ES Stacker Pathfinder? Can your actual nodes give you 5... Wait. That is... Am I stupid or is that fucking insane? 5% global defenses? Yeah, that's like an ES buff, bro. What am I... It's not that crazy. I don't know. Your travel nodes give you 5% EF. Seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. It's instead of the stat points though, gonna be stat starved. I mean, I guess you can still take stats. Can either go ES from the Sork nodes or Armor Elemental from the Warrior nodes. Don't forget it's 5% HP and ES. I don't think global defenses count for HP, right? I mean, hold on. Like I think global defenses are armor, evasion, energy shield. I don't that doesn't work like that. Yeah. HP is not a defense. Yeah, it's a health pool. So that doesn't it don't work like that. That seems pretty good though. Okay. Well, that's a cool addition. 5% increased damage is all right. 5% cost efficiency. Trying to think how much I care about that. Elemental Surge reworked. Grants skill Elemental Surge. Now provides when you consume charge trigger Elemental Surge to gain 3 lightning surges. Surging Avatar reworked when you consume a trap. I kind of don't care about this. I don't really play Amazon. I don't really care about Amazon, to be honest. Cost efficiency would be nice as well. I mean, maybe I don't know how much I'd actually take that. Mana Stacker Pathfinder. Yeah, but like you would lose the mana stacking from the you lose the intel, which would give you mana, and you would lose the mana stacking from the Ritualist Third Ring. So you're probably not going to do like a mana stacker and the cost efficiency or something. I don't know. Seems a little. That one seems a little weird to me. But anyway, Amazon. Kind of don't care about Amazon. Let's look at Ritualist. Sacrifice Stolen Modifier duration is 82 to 120 seconds. Previously 15 to 19. Good lord. Quality is now plus 20 seconds to stolen modifier duration, previously plus 2. So this is like basically Headhunter on steroids. The sacrifice is now actually long enough to matter. That's actually a nice change because before the animation was like half as long as like the actual mod would give you. So that's actually a pretty nice change to Ritualist there. Because this was like basically an unusable kind of meme of a Ritualist one. Please use Ritualist. Well, the 3 rings are still pretty good, so. Corrupt the Life Force now also has you deal 15% more damage to enemies affected by Blood Boil. Wait, you just get 15% more damage modifier too. That's pretty good. Ritualist still has a Death Ascendancy plus 1 charm. I mean, I think these is bringing Ritualist to be like pretty good. Because you get 15% more damage now, and you get triple ring. These are actually, like, I don't know about, how much you're actually going to use the Sacrifice Stolen Modifier. You're probably going to end up using, like, Headhunter anyway or something. But, like, the 15% more, I don't know. That seems good. Warbringer, imploding impacts now also grants fully broken armor. You inflict increases all damage taken from hits instead. Hold on, let me pull up my... Where's my Warbringer? Alright, let's look at Warbringer here. How much do we care?
Still waters run deep.
Okay. Where are we looking at here? You can break our enemy armor below 0. Got changed to... Fully broken armor you inflict increases all damage taken from hits instead. By, wait, how much? Oh, it also grants. Okay, so you're still getting broken below. But how much, though? Is it no longer just physical? It's no longer just physical. Like elemental damage also, basically. So you can do elemento, you can do like fire avatar or something, right?
Sorry about that, guys. That was longer than I wanted it to be.
It's an also. So now you can deal lightning damage and break armor.
All right, let's see. Hold on. All right, let's see what we can do for patch notes here. The Fate of the Vol, we saw that reveal in, we actually, for stream, zoom this in a tad. Knowing what I just heard, the dog barking, I have a feeling I'm gonna have to freaking carry in groceries in a second, too. I'm wondering if I should just do this later. Added a new playable character. You know what? I should have just left. I should have just ended the stream when I had to go before. I feel bad. I mean, I don't really think no one's really chatting anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I think I might just end and do this tonight. Read the patch notes tonight and try to figure out what, like, Theorycraft build, maybe play some PoE2, dick around and stuff like that tonight, after my nap and everything, so, because I'm fairly certain that I'm gonna have to carry in groceries here in a second, and then I also need to cook dinner and eat and stuff like that, so, these, I imagine, knowing this, they're probably long as effing shit, and I want to give these the proper time to really go through and think about. Sometimes I go through, yeah, they're long as shit. This is going to take me a long time to really go through. So, yeah, I think we'll just properly go through it tonight, guys. Sorry about that. I should have just ended before I had to go AFK. That was stupid of me. I should have realized what time it was, and I should have known it was going to take longer. But either way, we'll be back in around 2 to 3 a.m. Eastern, where we will go over the patch notes. I am going to actually just not look at them at all right now. And we'll check out all that together and see what is going down and try and figure out whether we're going Druid or one of the other builds. It really depends on what the balance changes bring and what gets nerfed and what doesn't. So I'm excited to read that later. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next stream. Bye-bye.